Good morning, Mahima. Mahima?
Good morning, ma'am.
Mahima, are you there?
Good morning, ma'am.
Mahima, are you there? Thank you.
क्या?
Thank you. हाँ, good morning, महिमा.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, महिमा. एक तो आपने मुझे ये बोला था ना कि I have to make you collaborator.
मैम क्या?
वो उसमें Google Forms के लिए you need to be there. Registration
नहीं
form.
मैम, मेरी ऑन्डिला मैम से बात हो गई थी, उन्होंने मना कर दिया था कि हम सर्टिफिकेट में कॉलम्स नहीं डालेंगे, तो मैंने कहा ठीक है, ओके
Andila ma'am has also joined. Good morning, ma'am.
ओके.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good
गुड
morning.
मॉर्निंग
Good
मैम.
morning.
मैम आप मुझे बस वो फॉर्म भेज दो, मैं उसको शीट में कन्वर्ट कर लूँ.
क्या बेटा? कौन सा फॉर्म?
मैम वो रजिस्ट्रेशन फॉर्म का एक्सेस दे दो.
एक्सेस दे दूं आपको?
हाँ, मैं उसको शीट में कन्वर्ट कर लेती हूँ ना, वो हमारे लिए ठीक रहेगा.
मैं आपको शीट में क्रिएट करके शीट शेयर कर दूं?
ऐसा कर लो, हाँ ऐसा कर लो.
एक मिनट रुको, मैं अभी करती हूँ.
ठीक है मैम.
हमारे पास 197 रिस्पॉन्सेज आ गए हैं.
ठीक है.
दिव्या मैम इज ऑल्सो अबाउट टू ज्वाइन. गुड मॉर्निंग दिव्या मैम.
Oh, good morning, Mamta ma'am. Have a great day.
Same to you, ma'am. Same to you. Same to the whole team.
Yeah.
Angela ma'am
Good
and
morning
all the
to
students. Yes, ma'am.
everyone. Andrilla ma'am, all the best.
Good morning. Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
थोड़ा energy ला, थोड़ा energy. Good
Yes.
morning, Mahima. Good morning,
Good
Akriti.
morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Jigyasa.
First, ma'am, the first news which I want to share with all of you present here is that we have received 197 responses.
Wow,
Yes.
stupendous.
Yes.
This
Yes.
is what we actually required. Yeah. So I just hope कि most of them join. Majority of them should be joining, or almost everyone. Why not?
Why not? Yeah.
So let's hope for it. अच्छा, जो आज के हमने थोड़ा इससे पहले एक डिस्कशन किया था, I guess वो हम बात कर लेते हैं.
जी मैम, पहले उसी की चर्चा कर लें फटाफट हम.
Because it's already 10:30.
Exactly.
So क्या है कि the VC may be joining in a not immediately but in a while. So he may be joining around 11:15. He may join at 11:10. We are not sure. So, but this is a situation which is uncertain. However, we have to gear up for it, at the best way we can. So what we have decided is that as soon as we open the meeting, like when people have joined and there are many people and he hasn't yet joined. So what we would do is we would start with, because at 11 o'clock because 11 o'clock the program commences anyway, we have to stick to the schedule. So at 11 o'clock, we would, you would just welcome everyone on a short sweet note that this is the inaugural ceremony of 3-day lecture series. So you welcome, this is what Andrilla would say. And then she would invite Mamta ma'am to present the quiz. So Mamta ma'am would then ask the students to download the particular app on their phone, and this will take about 1 minute or 2 minutes. So 2 minutes pass by, and then again, because as the students would be taking quiz, the quiz will last for 7 to 8 minutes. Now this time would be then not wasted in sitting idle, and it won't create any impatience in the students, but they will be engaged for all this while in the quiz. So these 10 minutes would pass by fruitfully. This is the aim. So what do you say about it? Because and then it will we had planned that the quiz would be before Huda sir's expert lecture, but then if the quiz happens before, things would run even better and more smoothly, so we won't have to really worry about it. Okay, so this is what we have planned, just in case we have to wait for longer, क्योंकि हम बार बार तो इंट्रोडक्शन स्टार्ट नहीं कर सकते, राइट? हेलो,
Yeah, ma'am, totally agree. What do you say, Andrila ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. It's okay with all. If everything is okay.
Yes, I hope that will really set the pace of the inaugural meeting. So yeah, so Vyomi ma'am, मुझे ये बता दो जल्दी से किस किस को co-host बनाना है?
मैम जिज्ञासा को बनाना है, ठीक है। सीनियर टीम में से व्योमी, किरण, महिमा को बनाना है, और जिज्ञासा के साथ चाहत, अभिषेक और दिव्या को भी बनाना है।
ठीक है मैम, मैं सबको बना रही हूँ।
हाँ।
और मैम दिव्या मैम, तब तक हम एक छोटा सा रिहर्सल कर ले, आप कह रहे थे ना?
और आपको तो पता ही है कि एक्सपर्ट लेक्चर जो होंगे उनको तो बाय डिफॉल्ट बनाना ही है,
बनाना है।
और हमारे जो गेस्ट आते हैं, जैसे कि दिव्या मैम ने कहा है कि अतुल सर को भी को होस्ट बनाना है, लाइक दैट।
So I have made Divya ma'am and Andrila ma'am co-host. I have made Vyomi and Jigyasa as well as the co-host. So PPTs मेरे ख्याल से जिज्ञासा रन करेंगी। जिज्ञासा
मैम फॉर्मल वाली जिज्ञासा रन करेगी, और आप जब वो दिव्या मैम जब बोलेंगी तो शायद आप रन करोगे वो कॉन्सेप्ट स्लाइड।
मैम वो मेरे ख्याल से अगर हम जिज्ञासा से और बात हुई थी मेरी, जिज्ञासा भी करके दिखाती है हमें दोनों पीपीटीज रन, और वो कह रही है कि मैं स्टिल करके दिखाती हूँ कहाँ पर होल्ड करना है।
हाँ हाँ, इफ शी कैन तो ये तो बेस्ट, दिस इज द बेस्ट दैट कैन हैपन।
इज द बेस्ट, या। जिज्ञासा, कैन यू शेयर द पीपीटीज?
यस मैम, जस्ट अ मिनट। just a minute.
Your screen is visible, Jigyasa.
Okay, ma'am. मैम ये ना मैं पहले से शेयर करके ही रखूंगी, क्योंकि इसको ना लोड होने में टाइम लग रहा है।
हाँ, तो तुम इसको पहले ही खोल के रखना जिज्ञासा।
यस मैम। मैम एक बार कर लेते हैं स्टार्ट।
हाँ करो।
ये अब इसको खुला ही रहने दो, क्योंकि हमारी मीटिंग एक तरीके से स्टार्ट होगी 11 बजे, तो लोग ज्वाइन करेंगे। 10:35 पे हमने सोचा ही था, अभी धीरे धीरे सब आ जाएंगे। इसमें ना एक चीज रह गई, बाद में देख लेंगे, और कोई नहीं नोटिस करेगा, बट प्रसन्नांशु खुद नोटिस कर लेते हैं। जैसे इसमें स्पेलिंग अभी मैंने नोटिस किया।
हाँ, उनके स्पेलिंग्स, नेम के स्पेलिंग्स गलत है। मैम वैसे भी प्रसन्नांशु सर परसों आने वाले हैं।
नहीं, आज कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, मैंने यही बोला है। आज इससे कोई फर्क
के लिए कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा। तो जिज्ञासा, जब तुम पीपीटी शेयर करके रिहर्सल करके हटोगी ना, तो ये मेन पेज छोड़ देना। मैम की बात सही है, जैसे जैसे ऑडियंस एंटर करेगी तो मेन पेज ये दिखेगा तो अच्छा लगेगा बेटा।
ठीक है मैम। मैम जैसे ये मेरे को शो हो रही थी
इज नॉट बीइंग एडमिटेड, जो भी को होस्ट है प्लीज एडमिट कर दिया करो, कोई भी स्टूडेंट बाहर हो उसको।
मैम नहीं तो फिर ये स्क्रीन पे भी शो होगा ना, जैसे मेरे पे शो हो रहा है।
हाँ, ये स्क्रीन पे शो हो रहा है जिज्ञासा।
अब एक ये दिखाओ, मेरी वाली भी तुम ओपन कर पा रही हो कि नहीं, एक बार वैसे दिखा दो, और कि उनको स्वैप कर पाओगी कि नहीं।
हाँ, कैसे करूँगी?
मैम एक स्क्रीन शायद आपने सुबह, मैम मुझे आपने व्हाट्सएप करी है ना वो शायद।
हाँ नहीं, व्हाट्सएप नहीं की मैंने आपको, मैंने
आपने
आपको
मेल
अभी
करी
अभी
है।
अभी अभी ईमेल की है, आप ईमेल चेक करो, ईमेल
यस
से डाउनलोड करो।
यस मैम, यस मैम।
आई थिंक सर इज हियर, लेट मी जस्ट सी।
यस मैम।
Not visible to me, but good morning, sir. I guess. अच्छा, he's in the waiting room. चलो, join.
जिज्ञासा, इसको बेटे डाउनलोड करके रखना था पहले।
मैम हो गई, मैम हो गई।
Professor Atul Mishra was joining, but now he's not visible.
मैम मैंने उन्हें एडमिट तो कर दिया था, बट अभी भी शो हो रहा है कि वो वेटिंग में।
He joined, I think.
यस मैम, नाउ ही जॉइन।
So, good morning, sir. Are you there?
Good morning, madam. Good morning.
ठीक है, sir. Thank you,
My
sir,
ord-
for joining.
Yeah, I just wanted to see. So the previous mail has different coordinates, right?
Yeah, that was for the rehearsal. वो मैंने morning में देखा कि मेरे उस पे वो है, तो I thought कि early morning में वही वाला होगा. So, but वो yesterday we had a meeting, उसके coordinates.
So Vice Chancellor, I'll update him about it. He wanted me to send a mail.
हाँ ना,
I'll let
मैंने
me
उनको भेज दिया है, वो वाला भेज दिया है, आपका वाला फॉरवर्ड कर दिया उनको।
अच्छा, मेल फॉरवर्ड कर दी उनको आपने?
हाँ हाँ,
ठीक है, ठीक है, ठीक है, that's fine.
रजिस्ट्रार को भी कर दिए।
तो रजिस्ट्रार ऑफिस में भी somehow I think on
स्पीच भिजवानी थी, स्पीच भिजवा दी है सर, वो रजिस्ट्रार ऑफिस में मैंने उससे कंफर्म किया है, अमित से। सो अमित इज सेइंग कि मैम पहुंच गई है।
ठीक है, good, that's fine. So what time we are starting? 11 o'clock?
Yes. We'll start at 11 o'clock. तो अभी ममता और हमने ये डिस्कस किया है कि क्योंकि सर ने बोला था कि मुझे 10 मिनट लग जाएंगे, हो सकता है मैं 11:15 पे आऊं, कुछ ऐसा, तो हम ऐसा कर लेंगे कि हम विल स्टार्ट ऑनरिला वुड।
I think now he can join. There were some interviews today. I just came to know that they have been postponed. So probably he will join at sharp 11 around. He'll join.
Wonderful, sir. That's great. So no changes then. No changes. We'll continue as before.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Noted, ma'am. Noted.
तो एक बार अब आप हो तो हम रिहर्स ही कर लेते हैं मेरे ख्याल से। आई थिंक ऑनरिला आप सर कर लें एक बार रिहर्स फटाफट थोड़ा सा।
Actually, I need to make few calls. You carry on. Just keep my slot as if I'll come and speak something. You please carry on.
ठीक है सर, ठीक है।
Okay.
ठीक है, ओके। सो ऑनरिला कैसे क्या बोलते हो आप, कर लें रिहर्स या रहने दें, अपना एनर्जी सेव करें?
बिल्कुल
मैम एक कर लेते हैं, मैम एक कर लेते हैं।
हाँ मैम, कर लेते हैं एक।
बिल्कुल मैम,
एक क्विक रिहर्सल कर लेते हैं मैम, जल्दी से।
हाँ मैं बोलना स्टार्ट करती हूँ। ओके,
मेरी स्क्रीन विजिबल है ना?
हाँ जी
जिज्ञासा बिल्कुल विजिबल है।
ओके।
I welcome you all to the inaugural session of the 3-day event of expert lecture organized by Department of Literature and Languages, J.C. Bose University. A man's accomplishments in life are the cumulative effect of his attention to detail. With this quotation from John Foster Dulles, I begin today's event, which aims to cultivate minds of students with enrichment of knowledge. Ladies and gentlemen, and our youthful audience, welcome to the inaugural session of the first lecture series organized by the Department of Literature and Languages, Faculty of Liberal Arts and Media Studies of J.C. Bose University of Science and Technology. As we all are present here to witness the 3-day event of expert lecture series, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome our eminent guests and participants to the session. We are delighted and blessed to have amongst us Professor Dinesh Kumar, the Honorable Vice Chancellor and Chief Patron of this event. Welcome, sir. We thank you, sir, for sparing your precious time to attend the session. Also gracing the occasion is Dr. S.K. Garg, the worthy registrar. Thank you, sir, for your gracious presence. It is a pleasure to have with us Professor JAIBIR HUDA as our eminent speaker of the day. Professor HUDA has the rare distinction of holding the Surya Kavi Lakshmi Chand Chair at the MTU University, Rohtak. Welcome, sir. We eagerly wait to listen to your learned disquisition on today's topic. I shall now request Professor Dr. Atul Mishra, Dean, FLAMS and Chairperson, Literature and Languages and convener of the event to kindly welcome the gathering on behalf of the faculty and the organizers. Now Chairperson sir's address will be there as he is not there and he told us to continue. So thank you. Yes. Ma'am, you are saying something?
अंड्रिला मैम आप कंटिन्यू करो, कंटिन्यू.
Okay, thank you, sir. I request Dr. Divya Jyoti Singh, Associate Professor of English and the coordinator of this event, to briefly introduce the series before we have the pleasure of listening to the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Registrar Sir, and the keynote.
Thank you, Andrila. With the permission of the chair, Professor Dinesh Kumar, esteemed Vice Chancellor, may I present the concept of the program to our vivacious audience. Thank you, sir. 3 lectures will be held in the first lecture series. Nahin. Dekho, wait. Now, Jigyasa, you have to switch to the other PPT. When I start the concept note, Jigyasa, you must do that. Yeah.
Ma'am,
मैम काइंडली बिगिन अगेन, दोबारा से शुरू करो.
I'll begin. बस एक और रिक्वेस्ट है कि अंड्रिला क्या आप ये जो आपकी जो स्लाइड है जो हम फर्स्ट स्लाइड शो कर रहे हैं उसमें लिटरेचर एंड लैंग्वेजेस बिल्कुल मैं भूल गई, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ लिटरेचर एंड लैंग्वेजेस ऊपर डाल सकते हो, जहाँ सर का नाम है उससे जस्ट ऊपर, जहाँ जयबीर सर की फोटो है, फिर प्रसन्नांशु की है, फिर उनकी है, तीनों की फोटो है, उससे जस्ट ऊपर डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ लिटरेचर एंड लैंग्वेजेस. हाँ,
मैम अभी ना ये चेंज नहीं हो पाएगी.
अब नहीं हो पाएगा. चलो ठीक है, कोई दिक्कत. चलो तो फिर जब मैं कंसेप्ट नोट पढ़ूं आप इसको कर देना, ठीक है.
हम ये वाली चलेगी ना आपकी टाइम पे.
हाँ
जिज्ञासा ये पॉइंट अच्छे से नोट कर लो बेटे, जैसी मैम कॉन्सेप्ट नोट रीड करेंगे आपको ये वाली पीपीटी प्ले करनी है. ओके बेटा.
हाँ, जब अंड्रिला मैम मेरे को इनवाइट करेंगे उसी वक्त इसको ओपन कर देना, उसी वक्त ट्राई करना ओपन. दोनों को अपने डेस्कटॉप पे रख लो तो स्वैप कर सकोगे. With the permission of the chair, Professor Dinesh Kumar, esteemed Vice Chancellor, may I present the concept of the program to our vivacious audience. Thank you, sir. 3 lectures will be held in the first lecture series being organized by the Department of Literature and Languages under the overarching topic, polemical themes in language, literature and culture. Our eminent speaker, Professor JAIBIR HUDA, Professor of English in the Department of English and Foreign Languages, MD, would set the tone for the series with his learned discourse on the topic popular culture and popular literature, how to deal with it. अभी थोड़ा सा आगे जाओ, वहाँ पे तीनों की फोटो है, वो 1 by 1 आएगी. देखो, जब मैं प्रोफेसर हुडा को इंट्रोड्यूस कर रही हूँ तो ये फोटो होगी, जब मैं सेकंड लेक्चर के बारे में बोल रही हूँ तो दूसरी, और जब मैं तो ये लॉ, ये वाला लॉ का है, और इससे ऊपर मर्चेंट ऑफ वेनिस की फोटो है, वो भी लॉ की है. इन दोनों को, और ये जो है ये इंडियन नॉवल इन इंग्लिश. और ऊपर करो, देखो मैं तीनों आपको सीक्वेंस दिखाती हूँ. थोड़ा ऊपर करो, थोड़ा ऊपर करो. नहीं, पहले जयबीर हुडा सर का आएगा फोटो. ये क्यों ऐसे आ रहा है? और नीचे करो. सर का सबसे पहले आना चाहिए था, ये इसकी वो सीक्वेंस गलत कैसे हो गई? मैं तो सीक्वेंस में सबसे पहले इनका रखा था.
मैम पहली स्लाइड ये है, फिर
मैम
उसके बाद
सीक्वेंस सही है, सीक्वेंस सही है, लेकिन बस वो प्ले कर रही है ना।
अच्छा अच्छा अच्छा, ओके ओके, तो ठीक है ठीक है, तो बिल्कुल ठीक है, नो प्रॉब्लम, ऐसे ही चलें, सही है, चलो। पर जब थोड़ा सा सर को इंट्रोड्यूस करूँ ना, तब उनकी फोटो दिखा देना, अदरवाइज वो पॉपुलर कल्चर वाली स्लाइड कर देना। जब प्रसन्नांशु जी के बारे में बोलूं तो उनकी फोटो दिखा देना, साथ में मर्चेंट ऑफ वेनिस की दिखा देना। फिर जब रणदीप राणा जी की बोलूं तो रणदीप राणा जी में नॉवेल्स वाला दिखा देना और सर की फोटो दिखा देना, बस ये है, ठीक है, बाकी चलने देना, ओके। So, eminent speaker, Professor JAIBIR HUDA, Professor of English in the Department of English and Foreign Languages, MDU, would set the tone for the series with his learned discourse on the topic, popular culture and popular literature, how to deal with it. In the postmodern world that we inhabit, established canons of culture and literature have been uprooted, and voices from the margins are being paid more attention and respect. If it is popular, can it be culture? This pertinent question has been a moot point with critics for long, as whatever is popular is usually associated only with the common man, the masses, and the proverbial man on the street. On the other hand, culture is considered to be a property of the elite. Professor Huda, in this inaugural lecture, would map the present cultural movement from elitism to egalitarianism. I'm sure that we shall come out the wiser for handling the post-truth world of virtual reality after a thrilling academic campaign. Second lecture in the series will be held on July 7th, delivered by Professor Anshu, Professor of English at National Law University, Delhi. He is Director of Center for Endangered Languages and Linguistic Justice. He would be taking up the interesting. Your voice is cracking?
Yes, ma'am.
Voice is cracking.
No, it's
Throughout it was.
Ma'am, your voice was lost in between, but now
It's not clear.
Now it's clear now. It's clear now.
आप वो ना बीच में एकदम से ऐसा लगता है जैसे सब पीछे हो जाते हो, या मतलब कुछ ब्लूटूथ कनेक्शन अगर मतलब
Okay.
लॉस हो रहे.
Okay, so I'll try to be closer to the laptop.
Dear colleagues, I think we should call students also.
Yes, sir. What's
We
the
don't
time?
have,
10:49. Yes.
yeah, within 10 minutes, like dignitaries will come on board. So I think we
So
should call them.
एक बार सब लोग अपना ये जो Zoom मीटिंग लिंक है, सारे के सारे एक बार अपने फ्रेंड्स के साथ दोबारा शेयर करो.
Okay, ma'am.
And जिन्होंने रजिस्टर किया है, क्या उनके पास किसी तरीके से गया है इन्फॉर्मेशन?
मैम, आई हैव सर्कुलेटेड इन द ग्रुप्स, जिसमें मैंने रजिस्ट्रेशन वो लिंक डाला था, उसमें मैंने शेयर कर दिया है. अभी मेरे ख्याल से हमारी मीटिंग में 5 to 7 मिनट्स हैं, तो आई रिक्वेस्ट ऑल टू शेयर इन देयर ग्रुप्स.
Actually, वो student
हमने लिंक शेयर किया है, सारे के सारे उसको अभी फॉरवर्ड कर दो.
मैम मैंने भी अपनी साइड से कर दिया है शेयर.
स्टूडेंट वॉलंटियर्स अपने दोस्तों को कॉल करके बोलो उन्हें वो आए ज्वाइन करें. मतलब we don't have good presence right now. At least there
I
should
think
be 100.
audience is most important. If we have
Yes, ma'am.
21, we actually need
We should have at least 100 people. And who is taking care of the technical aspects of the things? Because I think whenever BC sir and registrar sir will join, please make them co-hosts along with our speaker, main speaker. So someone should take care of this
Well, I'll
aspect.
be making the speaker and obviously all the dignitaries co-hosts.
Can you also immediately make the whole team a co-host, like Abhishek Jakhar,
Yeah,
Jigyasa,
yeah.
everyone should be made the co-host now.
I'll do that.
Well, we have I don't know, around 170 registrations of 180.
So at least 70-80 people should join, right? Before we call upon Vice Chancellor sir and.
Yes, sir.
So people are coming, sir. They are joining. ऑन्ड्रेला मैम, जैसे दिव्या मैम का वो बंद होगा, कीनोट एंड होगा, उसके बाद से फर्स्ट स्लाइड पे वापस आ जाना है मुझे, है ना?
हाँ बेटा,
आई
दिव्या मैम का एड्रेस जैसे ही खत्म होगा, आप उसके बाद रजिस्ट्रार सर का है, देखो आप। ओके, तो आप तुरंत ही फर्स्ट स्लाइड में ना आके रजिस्ट्रार सर के स्लाइड में थोड़ा पॉज कर लेना। ओके, उसके बाद इमीडिएटली देखो बेटा, वाइस चांसलर सर है, उनके में थोड़ा पॉज कर लेना जब वो बोलेंगे एंड उनके बारे में जब बोला जाएगा। उसके बाद देन वी विल बी आफ्टर वी थैंक हिम, उसके बाद ममता मैम विल बी रीडिंग द एसओपी, तो आपको एसओपी के उसमें जाना है, ठीक है? उसके बाद एसओपी का जो देखो पॉइंट वाइज 5 पॉइंट्स है, जैसे ही वो थर्ड पॉइंट खत्म करने वाली होगी, क्योंकि इतने में ऑडियंस विल बी सीइंग इट, कल रात भी आपके साथ मेरी यही बात हुई है। इसके बाद आपको क्या करनी है, यस, क्विज का जो स्लाइड है वो डिस्प्ले कर देना है, ठीक है? इसके बाद फिर से आप इसके बाद ही आएगा जयबीर।
Undrila, could you just wait and all of you should be ringing up your friends now to join, because it's already time, so we just have 7 minutes. Most of the students should be joining by now. Okay, we still have just 21 participants. ये phone calls ना सुबह सुबह हो जानी चाहिए।
मैम मेरे तरफ से तो मैंने कर दिए हैं सारे।
MA first year whole class is present, I think.
Yes मैम, हमारी पूरी क्लास है मैम।
So Atul sir, is Atul sir there? Sir, can we have the media students for this?
Yes, I did drop a mail yesterday also asking them to join.
Actually, the problem with us is that we have very few of our own students.
No, but I was thinking we are calling people from DAV, Agarwal College. We are calling people.
We did, and some of them are going to join, but everywhere there are classes, and so कोई कुछ ना कुछ रहता है। पिछली बार तो we had roped in BTech students, so things were better. इस बार I had information कि the registrations have gone fine. So
no, but like then people should have joined, right? So I thought we have student volunteers who are helping on.
So maybe Mamta is putting it in her group. So Mamta.
Ma'am, I am calling up all the students. Just give me a moment.
Just call them. Even like you can call Aditya Arko to ask them to for just the inaugural part. Let people join, and then maybe for listening part, when the actual lecture will happen, they can leave. They can go. Whatever. Yes, you were calling.
Ma'am, I have sent the invites in the Ananya group and the NS.
The students are joining. I called them up. All the students are joining just in 2 minutes.
Excuse me, ma'am.
So students from Ananya Club and NSS unit are also joining in.
Okay, okay, beta. Okay.
Ma'am, can you make Arzu co-host, please?
Yes, beta.
Ma'am, Kiran also.
Okay, beta.
I think we have the worthy registrar joining the meeting. He's already there. Thank you, sir, for being present here to encourage us. We'll shortly begin the program.
Madam, please make him co-host.
Sir, yeah, I am doing it, sir. Thank you for reminding me.
Registrar Saab, good morning. Namaskar, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. I am audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible.
Good morning, sir.
We are just waiting for students to join, sir. 11 o'clock. We'll start shortly.
And students are joining in. See, we have got 50 participants. Another 1 more minute because I have made the calls. So they are joining in.
Mamta madam, VC sir has joined. Please make him the co-host. Hello.
Yes, sir. Sir, I was on the call. Sorry, I responded late. Definitely, sir.
VC sir has joined.
Yeah. Good morning. Good morning, sir.
No, you have to make him a co-host. He
Okay,
might
sir.
not be.
मैं already co-host बन गया हूँ, मिश्रा जी. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
So, sir, can we begin the proceedings of the day with your permission?
अभी आपके यदि participant join कर गए हैं तो then yes we can.
There may be a few more who would be joining.
It's fine. We can start.
हमारे स्पीकर आ गए मैडम, दिव्या मैडम.
Sir, just checking.
I'll check, ma'am. I'll check.
ये डॉक्टर अतुल आपको इसको कंट्रोल करना पड़ेगा ठीक से, अदरवाइज दिस विल नॉट वर्क लाइक दिस.
आप एक बार को-होस्ट के अलावा सबको म्यूट कर दीजिए. ममता.
Yes, sir. Definitely, sir.
अरे आज के कीनोट स्पीकर जुड़ गए हैं क्या? प्रोफेसर जयबीर जी, हुड्डा जी जुड़ गए हैं?
अभी सर देख रहे हैं, नहीं शायद अभी नहीं जुड़े.
Yes, sir. Professor JAIBIR HUDA has joined, but with a different title. I think it's Arnab HUDA. So somebody has to, let me just find it out. Yes, Arnab HUDA. Yes, sir, he's there.
So please make him co-host.
Kindly make him a co-host, ma'am.
Ma'am, I'm doing it. Sure.
Good morning, sir. You're welcome, Professor JAIBIR HUDA.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Sir, can we have your camera and your mic switched on? Both of them? Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Professor Hudda Sahab. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Welcome on the platform. We have our Vice Chancellor, Professor Dinesh Kumar, and our Vardi Registrar, Dr. S.K. Garg, also on the platform.
Good morning, Professor Jaibir ji.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
How are you, sir?
Fine, sir. I hope everything is fine at your end.
Yeah.
So we have about 100 participants and
Start कीजिए, madam. Start कीजिए,
yes,
please.
sir. Yes, sir. So, Andrila ma'am, please.
Yes, I welcome you all to the inaugural session of the 3-day event of expert lecture organized by Department of Literature and Languages. With a man's accomplishments in life are the cumulative effect of his attention to detail. With this quotation from John Foster Dulles, I begin today's event, which aims to cultivate minds of students with the enrichment of knowledge. Ladies and gentlemen, and our youthful audience, welcome to the inaugural session of the first lecture series organized by the Department of Literature and Languages, Faculty of Liberal Arts and Media Studies of J.C. Bose University of Science and Technology. As we all are present here to witness the 3-day event of expert lecture series, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome our eminent guests and participants to the session. We are delighted and blessed to have amongst us Professor Dinesh Kumar, the Honorable Vice Chancellor and Chief Patron of this event. Welcome, sir. We thank you, sir, for sparing your precious time to attend the session. Also gracing the occasion is Dr. S.K. Garg, the worthy registrar. Thank you, sir, for your gracious presence. It is a pleasure to have with us Professor JAIBIR HUDA as our eminent speaker of the day. Professor HUDA has the rare distinction of holding the Surya Kavi Lakshmi Chand chair at the MDU University Rohtak, Welcome, sir. We eagerly wait to listen to your learned disquisition on today's topic. I shall now request Professor Dr. Atul Mishra, Dean, FLAMS and Chairperson, Literature and Languages and convener of the event, to kindly welcome the gathering on behalf of the faculty and the organizers.
Thank you, Andrela. Very good morning to everyone. First and foremost, on the behalf of Faculty of Liberal Arts and Media Studies and English Department, Literature and Languages Department of the University, I extend my heartiest welcome to our esteemed speaker of the day, respected Professor JAIBIR HUDA ji. Professor JAIBIR HUDA ji is professor in the Literature and Languages Department of MDU University, and he is also holding the chair of Surya Kavi Lakshmi Chand at this point of time. Sir, we are delighted to have your presence with us today and very fortunate and honored to be with you for this inaugural session of this lecture series. Thank you very much, sir, for coming to this platform. I'm also indebted to our Honorable Vice Chancellor, who has been our guiding light in all our efforts. Like his vision and his effort has helped us establish this Faculty of Liberal Arts and Media Studies, where as per the directives of NEP, we are able to bring a lot of courses in these STEM universities related to social sciences, literature, media, animation. So we are really fortunate, sir, for your kind presence today, for helping us start this lecture series program. We are also indebted to our worthy registrar, Dr. S.K. Gargji, whose administrative support is always there for our faculty, our department. Very warm welcome to both of you. I also welcome various deans and chairpersons, students of our literature department, media department, animation department, who are all present on this platform today. I also welcome my colleagues from various departments like engineering and sciences, who are also interested to listen to what we have to offer today. So very warm welcome to everyone. I must congratulate the Department of Literature and Languages for starting this series. My understanding is that this series is about exploring various aspects of literature and critical thinking, which is useful for our literature student as well as our sciences and engineering student also. I personally believe that language is a blessing given by the God, by the divine to us, and our writers, whom I call magicians, using the syntax and semantics of languages, they create beautiful work, the work of Shakespeare and Yeats, like we all are familiar with. They write beautiful stories, drama scripts, poetry, and all these aspects of literature, they literally irrigate our hearts. They make our hearts soft to understand the human aspect of our existence also, especially for we science and engineering students or faculty. Like we, at times I realize we become very mechanical in our approaches and stay too much embedded in our algorithms and technicalities of those things. So aspects of literature helps us realize the human aspect of us also. So I'm pretty sure this series is going to be a success and it will bring up these needed aspects to our students of sciences, engineering and literature. So it's a 3-day event. At this point of time, we will have various experts coming from various renowned universities and colleges of NCR area. And I'm pretty sure like in the future, we will add up more experts to this list. So without much ado, I'll once again congratulate the department and welcome everybody on this board. Thank you very much. Ms. Andrela, please carry on.
Thank you, sir. I request Dr. Divyajyoti Singh, Associate Professor of English and the coordinator of this event, to briefly introduce the series before we have the pleasure of listening to the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Registrar Sir, and the keynote speaker.
Thank you, Andrila ma'am. With the permission of the chair, Professor Dinesh Kumar, esteemed Vice Chancellor, may I present the concept of the program to our vivacious audience. Thank you, sir. 3 lectures will be held in the first lecture series being organized by the Department of Literature and Languages under the overarching topic, polemical themes in language, literature, and culture. Our eminent speaker, Professor JAIBIR HUDA, Professor of English in the Department of English and Foreign Languages, Maharishi Dayanand University, would set the tone for the series with his learned discourse on the topic, popular culture and popular literature, how to deal with it. In the postmodern world that we inhabit, established canons of culture and literature have been uprooted, and voices from the margins are being accorded more respect and attention. If it is popular, can it be culture? This pertinent question has been a moot point with critics for long, as whatever is popular is usually associated only with the common man, the masses, and the proverbial man on the street. On the other hand, culture is considered to be a property of the elite. Professor Huda, in this inaugural lecture, would map the present cultural movement from elitism to egalitarianism. I'm sure that we shall come out the wiser for handling the post-truth world of virtual reality, augmented reality, and popular culture after a thrilling academic wrangling. The second lecture in the series, to be held on July 7, will be delivered by Professor Prasannanshu, Professor of English at the National Law University, Dwarka, Delhi. He is the Director of Center for Endangered Languages and Linguistic Justice and would be taking up the interesting topic, law, literature, and language. With him, we shall take an academic dive into the incisive literary works on the exciting subjects of crime, law, and punishment, and trace the trajectory of such literature from the dramaturgy of Shakespeare, the Bard of Avon, who engaged with legal questions in the 16th century cultural context, to the psychological novels of the Russian writer Fyodor Dostoevsky and the surrealistic writings of the Czech-German Jew author Franz Kafka. The valedictory lecture will be held on July 9. Professor Randeep Rana, Professor of English, Department of English and Foreign Languages, MD University Rohtak, would dwell upon the fascinating subject of the Indian novel in English to emphasize how Indian writing in English has carved out a niche space and maintained its dominance in the world of English literature and post-colonial discourse. The student-centric program has been designed to prompt our students to exercise their critical faculties in perceiving and experiencing both life and letters. With a wish that our inquisitive audience, brimming with enthusiasm, would enjoy the academic event, it is over to my able colleague, Miss Andrila Das.
Thank you, ma'am. May I now request our worthy registrar, Dr. S.K. Garg, to kindly address the audience.
Thank you, Madam Das. I hope I am audible.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, everyone. As rightly said, that if we wish to have a better understanding of man and mankind, then literature is roadmap to it. We all are in the journey of life, and literature has the quality of connecting lives with their respective missions. Also, the mission of this series is to enlighten our students and faculty to enrich themselves with valuable insight shared by our experts. I hopefully wish that this series of lectures will accomplish its mission by instilling the right message across the academia to recognize the role of literature in all walks of life. I welcome our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sir, Professor Dinesh Kumar ji, to be with us. Sir, it is because of your vision, this university, which is known to be engineering or science and technology university now has setting up new milestone in literature, language, art and media also. Thank you, sir, for being with us. I also welcome our keynote speaker, Professor JAIBIR Hudaji, Surya Kavi Lakshmichand Chair in Maharishi Dayanand University, Rohtak, to be with us and to enlighten us on popular culture and popular literature, how to deal with them. I also welcome all the dignitaries, deans, chairperson who are present in this one, and I hope that the participants are going to make the most of this series and would also enhance their skill by participating with full gist and zest. I wish all the best to the participant and I hope great success to this endeavor. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. I am honored to welcome our chief patron of the event and Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Dinesh Kumar, eminent scholar from Canterbury University, as our chief guest for the day. Professor Dinesh Kumar is also the distinguished recipient of the prestigious Homi Bhabha Award for Excellence in Research. Under his capable steermanship, the institution has grown by leaps and bounds. New courses have been added, paving way for multidisciplinary and holistic education. His vision has guided us to cultivate digital humanities as a possible USP at the faculty and department level. Sir, kindly motivate the audience with your wise words.
Thank you very much. So good morning, friends. First of all, I would like to congratulate Department of English and Languages for organizing such an event. Because normally, in my university, in JC Bose University, most of the events are being organized by engineering department and science departments. So this kind of initiative, which has been taken by our Department of Languages, is really appreciable, and I'm very happy that Faculty of Liberal Arts and Media Studies, headed by Dr. Atul Misra and Dr. Divya Jyoti, who is heading the Department of Literature and English Study, are organizing this kind of event. It's really appreciable. I'm very happy. And I would like to congratulate to Dr. Divya Jyoti again for making Dr. JAIBIR Huda as the keynote speaker today on this occasion. I'm sure because he has been working in MD University Rohtak for so long, he has got a very long experience of literature and English. I'm sure that our young students and faculty members will be motivated by his lecture. Now you see, English is a very good subject because all of us know that without English, perhaps even in our country, like in India, we are not able to connect with everyone. Till today, even we got independence from British rule. Almost 75 years are going to complete this next year. But still, English is the only language which is connecting us. If we want to talk to someone in Madras or someone in Kerala, unfortunately, we don't know their language and they don't know our language. So still, English is playing a very important role. And moreover, English is an important language for our all students and teachers because of, Science and Technology University. We happen to do everything most of the time in English. Whereas, in fact, I know in most of the advanced countries, they have converted their all education from English to their own language. For example, if you go to Russia, they will teach everything in Russian language. If you go to Germany, then you can learn everything in German language, and so on and so on. But anyway, what I want to say that English is a beautiful language, and by chance I happened to be in Cambridge almost for 5 years. I remember in Cambridge, this Shakespeare dramas used to be played for almost for a month. Perhaps they used to celebrate his birthday by playing different kind of dramas, and it is such a beautiful thing that when you go to college in the evening after finishing your studies in the day, at 5 o'clock, you'll find 10, 15 students are playing drama, and they're acting, and they're playing music, and life is totally different in those in that particular month. And by chance, I happened to be in birthplace of this Shakespeare, which was very close from Cambridge. That was Stratford upon Avon, and I was really impressed the way they protect and the way they celebrate the findings of Shakespeare and the literature which Shakespeare wrote long back, so many years back. Still, it is very useful, and people are actually they're interested in that literature. They study that literature for the benefit of their coming generations. But unfortunately, in our country, somehow when I go back, we are not being given this kind of training in our early childhood. Somehow, I'm not talking of English. I'm talking even our own poets and our writers, our own Indian writers and Indian poets. We have got fantastic lot of persons like this, but somehow we don't teach our students, or don't teach our kids to do real studies about the literature, because as Dr. Sunil Garg was saying, that literature is something which open up your mind and which connects your mind with the your heart. That's very important kind of thing, but somehow we are not giving this kind of training to our students. All of you know that normally in our childhood days, nowadays what we do, students will study physics, chemistry, mathematics, and something, and English will be a small subject, or Hindi will be a small subject, and we just simply consider this as a kind of compulsory requirement for the sake of passing. But we don't really allow our kids to develop their literary skills, their literature skills. Somehow we tell them it is something you learn by yourself. But I think this is not the right way. Perhaps now, in case of new education policy, things will become different, because I know many of the students, they are still interested in literature, even if they get admission in engineering or their medicine or whatever course they are doing. Even then, they are interested in literature kind of thing. So we need to catch them, and we need to help them so that they develop these literature skills further. They can. We need to generate some kind of ecosystem where our students actually get the possibility of spending time in reading, because our students are not getting time to read, and especially in this time when this technology gadgets have come, most of the students are forgetting those kind of skills. I know at least now you are able to speak properly, you are able to write properly, but after 10, 15 years or 20 years, you will find that our students will not be able to write also properly if we don't give due attention to this kind of thing. So we need to really tell our students that how to write a proper article, how to write without mistake free, how to have a proper grammar. Our writing skills are we are actually not taking care of our writing skills, and that's why if you go to any college, maybe the student is topper of the university, but if you see his writing, he will commit so many mistakes in writing. So I think this is a very important thing, that you are organizing such kind of event where you will discuss about culture and literature, what is a popular culture, what is popular literature, and how the students who are interested in this kind of thing, they can be given some kind of opportunity that they develop it. In new education policy, for example, students will be allowed to take some credits. If he is interested in literature, he can earn some credit from literature also. And he need not to do everything from engineering. So engineering will be kind of 60%, but maybe 40% thing he can earn by the way of his interest, by having good music, by having some kind of literature. Maybe you are good in novel writing. You write a novel, and maybe he will be given some kind of credits. So we need to, in a university like JC Bose, we need to generate this kind of culture. We need to make this department very strong. And my ambition is that the Department of English, which is being run by one permanent faculty member, Dr. Divya Jyoti, they must have at least 7 to 8 or 10, around 10 members in English literature, or in some foreign languages also can be added up. And then we generate this kind of culture that our engineers, budding scientists, budding engineers, they all are given some opportunity to take participate in this literature, reading literature, writing literature, understanding our own poets, our own writers. Most of the students even don't know our Gita, our holy book Gita, what Gita is. You know, we are not giving enough attention to our own languages, in fact, like Sanskrit. Very few people know Sanskrit nowadays. So you see, we need to have a special passion for understanding and learning literature by way of learning these languages. So all these languages are playing important role, and we need to do it. And I'm very happy that Dr. Divya Jyoti has taken a lead in organizing this kind of series where JAIBIR HUDA ji has been invited. I'm happy, and I'm thankful to Dr. JAIBIR HUDA, who will be speaking about popular literature and popular culture. And with these words, thank you very much. I wish you all the best. I wish you a great success to this kind of program. And Dr. Divya Jyoti, I want that, being, even if you are from literature, what I want that being in a science and technology university, why don't you make your own laboratory also in literature? I believe that literature should also have a laboratory, and I have been talking to you quite often in past. And what I mean to say is, literature can also have a good laboratory. I know this is
definitely, sir, definitely. And registrar sir is here. Please let the funds pour in. We can have a room, which we are already having virtual MA labs.
Good.
We are already working on it.
So Dr. Atul Misra ji, you please try to extend all possible help, and I'm with you. Thank you very much. All the best.
Thank you so much, sir. These were
Thank you so
many
much, sir.
experiences you shared, and the earnest talk, it really encourages us. And the worthy registrar was right when he said that in a science and technology university like JC Bose, it's a very rare administrator who can see the potential in interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary faculties, and encourage humanities and related subjects to come up. So this is again a very rare vision, and we are indeed indebted to you for having led the way and made this a holistic educational institution. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, VC sir. Thank you very much for the kind words. Andrila ma'am, please carry on. Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for sparing valuable moments from your time. I would now request Ms. Mamta Bansal, who is the organizing secretary for the event, to read out the SOPs.
Thank you, Andrila ma'am. So the SOPs for this series are as follows. Kindly fill the feedback form being shared in the chat section. You can ask any question at the end of the expert's discourse. Address your query in chat box so that it can be forwarded to expert. Please fill the feedback form, which shall be released 5 minutes before the session ends. And professionals and students from other institutions can get certificates for each session they attend based on their entry in the feedback form. Thank you.
Ma'am, now I again request you to guide the steps for the visual quiz contest that is about to happen.
Thank you, Andrila ma'am.
Professor JAIBIR HUDA's disquisition would follow just after this quiz. This quiz has been specially designed by Mamta ma'am, our organizing secretary, for the students to it's a visual quiz actually, and it would, orient the students better to the coming lecture.
So thank you, Andrila ma'am and Divya Jyoti ma'am. Well, as the department and our honorable VC sir and registrar sir has just said that our department should, grow in leaps and bounds. So this is just a small step that, the students will entertain themselves, they will participate, they will enjoy, and it will set the, pace for the further upcomings. So I'll just help the students in joining the quiz. So the students are
just
yes,
before you continue or you go further, let me just request Professor Atul Mishra sir, एक बार अपना message box. Sir, we need to
Yes.
admit more students if we can.
Yes. We have a limit of 500. Let them
Sir,
enter.
somehow the limit has gone down to 100, and we have been trying for the last 10 minutes. There have been several messages, and there was many students in the waiting room. We could not
Okay.
admit them.
Okay.
Kindly, Mamta ma'am, no.
Yes.
Jigyasa, kindly, apprise sir and Mahima. Please apprise sir of whatever is happening. You can get in touch with sir.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
So, sir, as Divya ma'am has said that we are not able to admit more than 100 students because the capacity of this meeting is shown to be bound by 100 participants.
Okay.
So although we have tried at the back end, but we are not able to resolve this particular concern. If we need
who is the host right now? Who is holding the meeting?
I am the host. I am the host.
Okay. So you just carry on with the program. Let me do the thing in the background. It will
Can
in a
she
minute.
make you the host, and then you would be able to...
No. I just need to go to the browser and do something.
Okay,
You please
okay,
carry on your program. You
Sir,
please
I have
carry.
shared the one screenshot with you. Can you please check that as well on your WhatsApp?
Okay, so Jigyasa, you can please stop your screen sharing. I will be letting the students know how to participate in the quiz in the meantime. By then, Atul sir will be helping us out in, helping in accommodating the other students or the participants. So thank you, Jigyasa. So students, I will be sharing my screen and just confirm me once you're able to see it. Yeah, is it visible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So we have to go to the browser, as you can see, and there we need to type joinmyquiz.com. So once you have written joinmyquiz.com, you will see that the page which opens in front of you will have these, list of statements. So you have to just click on the second one. For students, enter a quizzes code. So after you have clicked on the enter code, you will see that a window will open asking for a code. So I will be providing you with the code. In the meanwhile, you can please reach at this point. So this is the code which you can see on my screen. All of you need to enter this code, that is 671370. You have to type the code 671370 in this column, that is enter a join code. So I can see that students are joining in. Let us wait for 1-2 minutes and let's see how many of the participants can join. It's quite pretty easy. I can see that students are quickly joining in. So this quiz is open for everyone. In fact, everyone can take this opportunity of participating in this fun session. So it's not only mandatory for students. So it's just a fun session. Anyone can join in by entering the code. I request Andrila ma'am, Divya ma'am, and other English faculty members also to join in this session.
Hello, Dr. Divya, Dr. Mamta.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Please inform the students the limit has been set.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. So, sir, you can also join in this quiz. I request you also to join in this quiz by typing on this code 671370, and I request JAIBIR sir as well. Sir, it will be really be an honor to us if you will join this fun session for us.
Okay, let me try. Let me try that.
Yeah. So you just have to go on your browser and type this joinmyquiz.com, and then you have to enter this code, that is 671370. We will be starting very soon. Another 1 more minute. Kindly, it's a request that all of you can join in very quickly so that we can start. It will just take 1 or 2 minutes.
So there are faculty members from other universities. Let me take this opportunity in between to welcome Professor Pramod Malik from BPS Kanpur Kala Law Department. सर के स्टूडेंट्स भी ज्वाइन करना चाह रहे थे. सर आप उनको आप बोल सकते हैं कि वो ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं.
Yes, ma'am. Please direction again may be given because I am sending the message to them, ma'am, because they are also waiting.
डायरेक्शन कुछ नहीं है, बस सर वो ज्वाइन करने का रिक्वेस्ट देंगे तो हम उनको एडमिट कर लेंगे. पहले हम देख ही नहीं पा रहे थे उनकी रिक्वेस्ट.
You are saying about this quiz also, ma'am?
हाँ, क्विज हम दोबारा रिपीट कर देते हैं. अभी स्टार्ट नहीं किया हमने क्विज. लेट द स्टूडेंट्स जॉइन.
I am sending this also.
हाँ, हम 2 मिनट और रुक लेते हैं.
Okay.
As ma'am had said, we can just wait for a few more minutes. That is 1 to 2 minutes. We have 32 participants on the board.
So, Pramod sir, are your students able to join now?
And can we start then?
I'll send the message, ma'am. Just class.
Okay. Okay, sir. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
अभी क्लास ना चल रही है, मैंने भेजा है अभी ज्वाइन करते हैं जी.
So we have we can see that all these participants have joined. It is visible on my screen. This is the leaderboard. So the moment I will press the start button, the quiz will start and you can enjoy taking the quiz. The moment, ma'am, you will give me the green signal, I will start the quiz.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Let's wait for 2-3 more minutes. just 2 minutes more and then we'll start because there are students who actually want to join. वो पहले wait कर रहे थे और अभी वो चले गए but they want to come back. So just 2 more minutes. इतने में प्रमोद सर के भी आ जाएंगे और फिर ये we will have a good strength.
Yeah, ma'am. The competition, it is going to be a then tough competition, obviously. So yeah, we understand.
ठीक है, प्रमोद सर के भी कुछ स्टूडेंट्स ने ज्वाइन कर लिया है.
Yeah. And we have 45 participants on the board.
Okay. I know we are bothering Professor Huda with this, but वो जो हमारे ये energetic audience है सर, इनको ये सब बड़ा पसंद है और ये popular है speeches और ये speeches भी popular है और ये quizzes भी popular है, तो इसलिए ये हमने best combination बिठाया अपनी तरफ से. I hope we'll be forgiven for this little delay. तो बस अभी start कर रहे हैं सर.
Fine. I'm also enjoying.
Oh, wow. ठीक है सर.
That's an honor to us, sir.
बिल्कुल. चलो मैम start करते हैं. Start कर देते हैं.
Great. So with your permission, I'm going to start the quiz.
Waiting
or all
room, 2 students. Let's just admit these 2-3 students who are in the waiting room. There are 3. I can see. बस इनको कर लो आप admit.
Yes, ma'am. So, okay, so with your permission, now I'm going to start and we have 50 participants on the board. So all the best to all the participants. The quiz is now going to start. So yeah, I have started the quiz. So as you can see the leaderboard, Ankita is leading right now, followed by Rachna, Sakshi, Shivani Yadav. Ma'am has jumped. Great, Divya ma'am.
I don't want to be competing with them. They're much smarter.
Okay, okay. Well, let's see. So we have Ankita on the top. Sakshi has jumped quickly. She has grabbed, come on the top right now, followed by Payal Chaudhary. My leaderboard is visible on the screen. So it is very,
I think I should be disqualified in the end. Just, don't consider my answers. Yeah.
Obviously, ma'am, it is just for the fun sake that we have asked you to participate. So once we will be disclosing the results, so we will be definitely be not considering you as a participant then. Sakshi is leading right now, followed by Payal Chaudhary. You can see your points as well. Then we have Ankita, Rachna, Vyomi, Jigyasa, and
so what I noticed again is probably that the 100 and okay, now we have been able to admit. So we have 102. That's good, great. Because I again thought that we were stuck with 100.
now
now we had
students are participating in quiz. So we once we have started with the quiz, we have 50 students, but now we have 58 who has taken up the quiz and 39 have submitted.
So those who have just joined can browse and find joinmyquiz.com and just type the code given by Mamta ma'am 67370 and try to give the answers. You can take up the quiz anytime later with the same code, but time would matter as the quiz award would go to, or the prize would go to person who answers the most answers correctly, most questions correctly, and has the fastest response time. A student is asking, can you send the quiz link again? इनको link जरूर भेज देना और code भी भेज देना. ये बाद में आपकी quiz ले लेंगे. Entertainment तो हो जाएगा students का. इनको अच्छा लगेगा. तो आगे हम चलते हैं. Proceedings अब आगे अपना चलते हैं. फिलहाल आप इसको clear कर सकते हैं मेरे ख्याल से.
Yeah, I have ended the quiz for the time being, and we have Sneha on the top, followed by Sakshi and Payal Chaudhary. So these are the winners of this quiz.
Please note it. एक screenshot ले लीजिए और आप बाद में फर्स्ट जो आए हैं उनको अवार्ड कर देंगे. एक्नॉलेज कर देंगे हम बाकी दोनों को भी लास्ट अपने वैलिडिक्टरी में, बट प्राइज मनी हमारा लिमिटेड है. हम फर्स्ट जो आया है स्टूडेंट उसी को दे पाएंगे. बट एक और है हमारा कि जो प्रोफेसर जयबीर हुडा के लेक्चर में सबसे अच्छे क्वेश्चंस पोज करेगा उस बच्चे को भी हम अवार्ड करेंगे. जब आप प्रोफेसर हुडा का लेक्चर, इसलिए आप बड़े ध्यान से फॉलो कीजिए. जो बच्चा सबसे अच्छे क्वेश्चंस पोज करेगा सर से, उस बच्चे को भी हम अवार्ड करेंगे. तो हमारे हर रोज 2 एक्चुअली अवार्ड्स होंगे. एक क्विज का अवार्ड रहेगा और एक अच्छे क्वेश्चंस और इंटरेक्शन का रहेगा. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mamta ma'am. It was a delightful quiz. Now we'll go ahead. Andrila ma'am, you please take over.
Thank you, ma'am. So I'll stop sharing my screen. Andrila ma'am, you can please proceed.
Thank you, ma'am, for the exciting quiz contest. Without further ado, I welcome Professor JAIBIR HUDA, who is an eminent professor and also the chief speaker of our event. Sir, over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I am obliged and I express my thanks to Professor Dinesh Kumar, Vice Chancellor, JC Bose University, Registrar Dr. Garg, Dean Professor Mishra, Dr. Divya Jyoti, Mamta, and all my colleagues in the Department of English for inviting me to address students on a topic, of course, of my choice. But first, let me go to this whole business of this topic for today's talk. I thought it was a talk organized by English department, working of English department of a technical university. So somehow or the other, most of the students, because the focus of the university is on technical education, on scientific education, so literature could be on the back seat, and the larger community of the students may not necessarily be considered to be grounded in literary studies. Even in simple conversation, if you ask those students a question, what have you read? What kind of novels, poems, etc. do you enjoy reading? Some of them may not really come up with the answer. Of course, they might have read a lot of things, but they perhaps would not consider those books, those novels, or those poems, or those songs that they have listened to, or the albums, or music albums that they enjoy, or the kind of movies that they enjoy. perhaps they might not be able to uh, speak confidently about those things, considering them to be something down market or something not to be discussed in the university campus. So they ultimately would come out to be people who have not been exposed to those texts, those things, those practices which are considered to be the hallmark of a cultured person. So that is somehow the problem. This again, and because literature, in any case, in such a university as J.C. Bose University of Science and Technology, invariably is pushed to the margins in common discourse, not in the official discourse, but in the common discourse. That certainly is one of the things. Of course, nowadays, most of people working in departments of literature, different disciplines of humanities, they can also feel a little bit more confident about their own subject, about their own discipline, because of the things that have changed in the past 2 decades or so, particularly, but in the past 4 or 5 decades in general.
Professor Huda, sir, may I interrupt you just for a second, sir?
Yeah,
Can
yeah,
you
please.
be louder so that we can hear you better?
Okay, okay, okay. So
Yes,
let it be a class lecture then.
yes, sir.
Of
I
course.
think without the earphones and the paraphernalia, the voice quality would be better. Usually, I have noticed that.
Okay, let me check it. Oh,
Yes, sir.
Am I audible now?
Yes, sir. Much better, I guess.
Okay.
We can ask a few more other people. Atul, sir, sir,
Yes,
better
yes, yes. Yes, your voice is now like better.
So can I go ahead now?
Yes, sir. Please, please.
Yes, sir.
Please.
Sure. Thank you, sir.
Okay, right. So the problem is that the issue that I was talking about was perhaps some of us or many of us working in different disciplines within the broad framework of humanities might feel a little bit more confident about our own disciplines and the relevance and the importance of our own subjects in view of the politics, in view of the framework of the thoughts of the past 2 decades in particular and 5-6 decades in general. Again, I'm referring to the concept of the times being described nowadays. Our age, particularly the age of 21st century, is more often described by using a term Anthropocene. We are living in the age of Anthropocene, where and again, surprisingly, this term, which is the prerogative of the geologists, geologists are given this prerogative to give names to the two different ages of the Earth. And it is for the first time that this name, Anthropocene, this name has not come from the geologists, but it has come from the environmental scientists. And more people are picking up, more and more people are using it as a point of reference to understand what life all around has become. So in these times, perhaps whatever we do has become more relevant. We are quite fortunate in a way in living in our country. Fortunate in the sense that our country happens to be much more multi-ethnic, much more multi-religious, much more multilingual, much more multicultural in a way as compared to other countries. So this should give us more strength rather than giving us some sort of weakness. The only problem is we seem to be insensitive to this idea of living and growing up in a multicultural society. That is somehow the problem. Because the topic for the day is popular culture and popular literature. So I may lapse into the use of Hindi or maybe sometimes Haryanvi or even Punjabi. The three languages which are predominantly spoken in this area. English is also spoken, but at least English happens to be the language of knowledge, language of social discourse in the elite circles, language of scholarship, language of policy making, and also happens to be language of execution of those policies. If not execution as such, but at least those people who are responsible for executing those policies at the higher level. So English also happens to be the language of academic discourse, and as a teacher working in English department, it is incumbent upon me to speak in English, particularly in a talk organized by, again, Department of English. But I might lapse into the use of Hindi and Punjabi. Please, Professor Mishra and Dr. Divya Jyoti, I hope you will allow me this digression. Am I allowed?
Please, sir, please.
Thank you. It's going to be more anecdotal. As I said, all of us live in a multilingual, multi-ethnic, multi-religious atmosphere, social atmosphere, cultural atmosphere. But most of the time we remain immune to this multiness, and more often lapse into the unitariness. I don't know what could be the reason, but it is certainly the case. For example, I've been living in Rohtak city the last 3 decades or so, more than 3 decades now perhaps. This city is dominated by two major chunks of people. One, who belong to this area, who have come to this city from the nearby villages, and also a lot of people who came to this place in 1947 as a result of the independence or as a result of partition, as the two terms are used by people who were affected by the partition. So they speak Punjabi language. Rather than it being an opportunity for the majority of the people to learn the nitty-gritty of the languages that people speak in their proximity, there seems to be a kind of distrust. Even now, even after these 7 decades, there remains a certain amount of distrust about each other's language. Even in the case of those people whose ringtone happens to be some Punjabi song, who enjoy day and night those Punjabi songs and do Punjabi dances, although they happen to declare themselves typical or more Khalis Haryanvis. Still, I don't know what is the reason, but still this is the reason. The distrust about language is so much that they use disparaging words to describe each other's language. If you ask a Haryanvi about Punjabi language, you would say, okay, fine, this Punjabi is something like Tusi Musi. And if you ask a Punjabi speaking person, what is this Haryanvi, you would say, I don't know, I don't understand this Ada Kuda all the time. So this kind of distrust and this kind of issue sometimes even creeps up among or remains a part of our being, even among those who hold responsible positions and were supposed to be about these petty, pejorative mindset. So this again is a serious issue. Of course, people do not admit it, but it remains a part of their being, which certainly affects our outlook and also affects the kind of decisions that we make in life, which not only affect our own life, but also affect the life of others if we happen to be in one or the other responsible position. So this perhaps is the relevance or the importance of the topic, that we need to be sensitive to this politics of the culture, this politics of elite and the popular culture. So that certainly is both an academic defense of the topic as well as social political defense of the topic. That I chose to speak, or I've chosen to speak on this topic in view of these two different things, or maybe including the third one that I refer to as the problem of the teachers and the students of English or students of departments of literature in a University of Science and Technology. Since I've talked about this subject, science and technology, I can really feel that a large number of students are pushed into science and technology, not because they are interested or not because it is their aptitude to study these things or to do wonders in these areas, but they are pushed into these things because they are the subjects, they are the disciplines that that gives them better opportunities of employment, not only better opportunities of employment, but also better salaries, better packages, something like that. Everything is fair. But if you look at it from an alternate point of view, what ultimately is the goal of education? Is education something that is given to a person in order to get more money? Is education translatable into monetary benefits only? Or does the goal of education go beyond? It's a moot question. And it is difficult to take sides. Because if you take the side of education is something that makes a person more enlightened, then you seem to put this idea of livelihood, this idea of social status, this idea of money, this idea of consumption, this idea of enjoying the fruits of civilization, you seem to put them in background. And then again, if you put them in background, the fundamental premise of the concept of development, the concept of your being happy or being rich or all these things, they seem to be threatened. And that perhaps is going to be more troublesome than solving the problem. It will enhance the problem. On the contrary, if you consider education to be something that is so down market that it is used only to earn money, then of course you seem to, or you can be accused of compromising with the higher level goals of human life itself. So this is a troublesome area. This is a troublesome problem. Anyway, let
Professor
me
Mishra,
get back.
you have a question? Did you just raise your hand, sir?
No.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. So let me begin with my own experience. Life is lived not only according to whatever you learn sitting in a classroom, whatever you learn from the books. Life is also lived according to your lived experiences of life. So to learn whatever is multiculturalism, to learn what is high culture and what is low culture, to learn and to know what is elite and what is popular, to know what is unique and what is of masses, one need not really learn it only from the books. It is also something that you learn from your own experiences of life, particularly if your eyes and your ears remain open. My understanding of culture and popular culture is as much academic as much it is a result of my own lived experiences. I'll try to keep my talk as unacademic as possible, and I'll try to refer not to the names, not to the names of the great thinkers, but I'll try to refer to those practices which are debatable, whether to consider them real culture with capital C or whether to consider them part of the popular culture. Because I'm trying to address the student community rather than my fellow colleagues who would be perhaps more interested in an academic scholastic talk. But anyway, Professor Mishra, if you allow me, can I change my register from it being a kind of talk of the university teacher to the talk of a person who happens to or who feels like sharing his own experiences on this topic?
Sure, sir. We are also interested in listening to that. Sir. Please carry on.
Yeah, thank you. To begin with, I grew up in a different kind of atmosphere, an atmosphere of multiculturalism. That is, I grew up in the company surrounded by people who professed two faiths, Hinduism and, if you call it Hinduism, and also Islamic faith. Again, people who were so-called Hindus could be divided into various groups. And my immediate class fellows and my friends, and also my social neighbors, they came from this background. Some of them belonged to, I lived in a remote part of Uttar Pradesh, bordering Uttarakhand now. And part of the land, of course, it happens to be the same chunk of land, but a part of it lies in Uttarakhand, but major chunk lies in district Rampur of Uttar Pradesh. So I grew up in that place. So those people who were Hindus, they came from different backgrounds. People who belonged to that place only. That is, who were original inhabitants of that place. People who had migrated, recently migrated to that place, particularly after 1950s or 1960s. People migrated from district Meerut or Western Uttar Pradesh, or people who migrated from Haryana, people who migrated from Punjab, people also who migrated from the West Punjab, now in Pakistan, that is after the partition. Again, this mix of Hindu culture consisting of all kinds of people who spoke different languages and who also had different cultural practices from the westernmost parts of the Punjab to the local traditions of District Rampur, Uttar Pradesh. So this was a mix of these things. On the other hand, those people, rather than being a simple monolithic category, the people who professed Islam, they also fell in three major categories, particularly at least two major categories. A small number of people who still remembered their Pathan, Afghani origins, because Rampur was the seat of Bangish Pathans. So some of the people they could remember, or they professed that partly that Afghani culture, and also a lot of those people who were ordinary Muslims, perhaps converts from the local population. So this was a mix of the kind of population that I lived in, sensitive to this fine nuances of the cultural patterns and social practices of all these people. That perhaps gives me a kind of understanding of the culture and the popular culture that I have. Again, I'm sure all of you must have experienced directly or indirectly Ram Leela. I'm sure everybody is sure of this event, Ram Leela. Whether it is part of elite culture or whether it's part of popular culture is something which is a very difficult issue to decide. But I would go for popular culture. Ram Leela certainly is part of popular culture rather than it being a culture of elite people, because elite people can always refer to the Sanskrit Ramayana of Valmiki, or even the or even other variants of Ramayana. But most of the Ram Leelas, they happen following not Ramayana, but they follow Ramcharitmanas, which of course was a popular rendering of the epic, sometimes in the 16th century by Tulsidas in Avdi language, one important dialect of Hindi language. So this is again something that makes it more popular. Not only this, but the very idea of organizing, the very idea of holding Ramayana, that also relates it to the popular culture, because it follows the pattern of the agrarian society. The time is very important, the time of the fertility rites and the time of the crops coming up and all these things. So this is certainly something that makes it popular. Again, why did I bring this Ram Leela to this talk is also significant, because my experience of watching Ram Leela way back in early 70s in one small part of district Rampur is of different nature. That's why I brought in this question of Ram Leela. Of course, Ram Leela all through the country would certainly fall in the category of popular, but my reference to the kind of Ram Leela that I watched certainly calls for its explanation or its elaboration in a different way. Ram Leela, as it used to be happen in a nearby village, which was a bigger village or in a way occupied central place, was Ram Leela again held like it was held in all other places, with one difference from the way it is held in Haryana. Most of the time, usually the Ram Leela would come to an end by 1 o'clock or something like that. Around midnight, 12:30 or 1 o'clock, Ram Leela would come to a close, a complementary close, and the next episode was to follow the next day. But the function continued. After 12:30 or 1 o'clock, it continued up to 4 o'clock in the morning. And then it was time to move from sacred to the secular, or sacred to the profane. The same stage which was inhabited by the incarnations of God, Vishnu, and also Hanuman, Angad, all those exalted characters. The same stage now emptied of this higher level kind of persona, higher level of kind of characters, to be inhabited by those people who were secular, and secular at best, and maybe described as profane at worst, something like that. And it was time for Nautanki to take place. It was time for a play to take place where all kinds of things happened. The plays could have political overtones, they could have social overtones, and they could have all kinds of overtones, and with a beautiful mixture of everything. Surprisingly, Ram Lila did not have women actors, whether it was the role of Sita or Mandodari or whatever it was played by male actors. But after Ramlila was over and the stage went to the secular performance, women actors came and occupied the stage. Not only women actors, but more importantly, women dancers. And all kind of fun, frolic, nonsense, good things, bad things, everything now started happening. Whistling all around, all kinds of comments, good comments, bad comments, obscene comments, everything would happen. And sometimes it would also happen just to catch the attention, or just to maybe claim, have a greater claim on the actors, etc. People would fight, and there would be all kind of scuffle using knives or lathis and everything. So this was also part of the same stage where Ramlila was held. This thing also held. I don't know whether to consider the stage to be an extension of the elite, where elite was degenerating into popular, or whether popular was certainly getting some kind of universalization. So this is something that we experience, and that we watch in everyday life as well. Taking a cue from this, since I have introduced this idea of high and low culture, let me be a little bit more academic for a few moments. This whole business of dividing culture into elite and popular, as far as social theory goes, as far as literary studies go, um, this was done by none other than, most importantly, it was done by Matthew Arnold in the mid of the 19th century. And the paradigm of the study of culture that is set continued for at least 1 century, although it continues even today. And this kind of division into elite and popular is not necessarily, cannot necessarily be ascribed only to Matthew Arnold. It had been similar kind of paradigmatic structures in all societies, in all places. For example, in our country also, we have a Lokik and Margi Parampara. Even in music, we have classical music and folk music. So this division of high and low is a kind of division of cultural products, of cultural practices, of cultural texts into the high and low everywhere. But as most of the people who are into the academia, they are more familiar with with this paradigm of, or with this kind of explanation of culture that comes from Matthew Arnold, beautifully described by him in his book Culture and Anarchy. This idea continues in the works of T.S. Eliot, and more importantly in F.R. Lewis, the towering literary critic of England for a number of years, whose literary criticism always bordered on some kind of cultural criticism. It continued till Second World War. After the Second World War, things started changing because society had undergone a change. Many more people, a larger number of people who had been soldiers in the First World War or the Second World War, because the number of soldiers required to fight those two great wars was far greater than the number of soldiers which England required earlier. So a large number of people could have the benefit of their pensions, could have money, and they could also afford to get higher education. So a large number of people belonging to middle class, lower middle class, or working class, their sons, their daughters, they started going to the higher education institutions, and they also started getting into academia and all those things. Many of them also became serious students of all different kind of disciplines within social sciences, within humanities. So obviously, their training, their aspirations, their fears, their anxieties, their desires, they also had some or the other kind of impact on literary studies, also on critical thought also. So some of them, they started giving due consideration to this idea, what is this whole business of all these patterns of popular culture, if they exist in such a great number, such a great amount, and even though everybody calls them name, they resist going into oblivion. And every day, many more such products, rather than going into oblivion, many more such products keep occupying the social space every day. Whether it was radio, whether it was television in the 50s, or more than anything else, cinema, and also popular music. Those LP records, and again after LP records, and then the cassettes, and then now digital format, DVDs, and then after DVDs, now it is the live streaming. So again, all kinds of platforms have continued to come into existence right from 1930s to 2020s, something like that. So it's a long journey. And another thing that is that is pretty good about this part of the art, this part of the cultural products, is that they seem to be traveling far more quickly than the texts of elite culture traveled. Maybe perhaps it is because of different times, but also perhaps because of many more scholars, many more social scientists, many more sociologists, philosophers have become more sensitive to a scientific, to a literary, to a critical understanding of these patterns and these texts of the popular culture. So anyway, let me go back to this whole business. As a part of the formal lecture, I should begin with the beginning. I'll make a lot of beginnings in the talk, and perhaps I'll keep making only beginnings, never coming to the end. And the proper beginning is to not only define my subject area, but also define the terms that I frequently use. What is culture, by the way? Again, culture, popular culture, all these things are such things, such terms, such concepts, which we are all familiar with. It is something that everybody knows, and it is something nobody agrees upon, including great thinkers. No two great thinkers seem to agree on what is culture. If they cannot agree on what is culture, how can they agree on what is popular culture? Everybody agrees on popular culture being what is not culture with capital C. But in the past 50 years or so, because of the dominance of anthropology, because of the dominance of the social theory, which could be applicable to all walks of life, perhaps some kind of agreement has come. And the agreement is about challenging the hegemony of elite culture. That is the agreement. And this agreement certainly also brings forth one definition which becomes more popular, more acceptable, a very short, small definition given by Raymond Williams. The whole culture is the whole ways of life. Whatever our whole way of life is culture. Whatever is followed by a large number of people, whatever is practiced by a larger section of the society, obviously must be something which is very popular. Hence, those ways of life which are shared by, which are practiced by a larger number, that becomes popular culture. Although this whole idea of popular culture keeps with it some kind of quantity, some kind of quantification of those things, the number of those things, so which in common parlance are nowadays can be translated in the form of how many people, how many readers of particular text, how many people who watch a particular kind of thing, or this or that kind of number, which makes certain movies or certain TV serials or certain books to be bestsellers or something like that. So number is very important. But there is no dearth of other people. Those people who align with elite culture, they consider popular to be only that thing which is not elite and the residual part. So since it is residual, hence it is inferior. Since it is not practiced by an elite, hence it is crass and crude, and it is something of the masses. When we talk of masses, again, Matthew Arnold creeps in, directly or indirectly. Matthew Arnold equated masses with those people who were not only crude and crass, but who also threatened the system which had been there in existence since times immemorial, where highly educated or people who deserve to control the social discourse, they control the discourse. So he was conscious of this disruptive tendency of the masses. So somehow, whenever we talk about popular, we also talk about masses, and when we talk about masses, we also remain somehow directly or indirectly sensitive or open to the idea of these masses and their patterns being disruptive in nature. So that is something that we need to be sensitive about. But and when we look at popular culture from this point of view, that whatever people do, what the way people believe, the way behave, the way people have their value system, most of the people, if they subscribe to a particular kind of value system, most of the people, if they do things in a certain way.
Professor Huda, yeah, sir, your mic has come out.
Yes. And I got a message that the host has muted you. Was it a trick on your part to mute me, or was it inadvertent, or was it a
No, sir, must have been by
Not at all.
mistake.
We are keen listeners.
So we are all listening to you. It was
Yeah, we are keen.
there was some kind of a disturbance. So
okay.
yeah.
It was just an aside. Fine.
Sorry about that.
No.
Sorry
It was just an aside, and it gives me an opportunity to take a breath.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
elite culture can be persistent, consistent, and continuous, but popular culture happens to have lots and lots of breaks. So I got a beautiful break for being muted. Thanks for that. Thanks to the platform, maybe digital platforms, naughtiness in giving me this break. So this whole business, I mean, if I ask this question, how many of us are really interested in watching only those movies which are given awards every year, national awards, or maybe this award, jury award, this kind of jury award, or that kind of jury award? Or given a choice, would be how many of you would continue watching Pather Panchali or Sholay? I don't know. Sometimes people would be more interested, many people would be more interested in watching Sholay rather than Satyajit Ray. Is it wrong to watch Sholay? Is it bad to watch Sholay? That is the question. Somehow or the other, popular, because it is related to masses, because it is related to large number of people, money comes into play its role. For all those people who are the creators, pushers, or circulators of all those texts which fall in the category of popular texts. Making a picture, selling it in the form of calendars and putting it on all kinds of things, or selling the pictures of some famous, beautiful models is as remunerative as perhaps investing in a painting made by a celebrated painter. But again, it is for only the elite who would invest in that painting. Yes, beautiful. The 4 different paintings of Mona Lisa. How many people would really be interested in making an investment in the Corona Lisa or Mona Lisa after lockdown or Mona Lisa after? Not many people. This parody and pastiche, whatever you may call with it, is the prerogative of the popular culture, not necessarily of elite culture. Although, as Dr. Divya mentioned in the beginning, we are living in postmodern times. Hence, the divisions between high and low, they certainly do not hold, but they certainly hold in one or the other area. They do hold. Still, there is no dearth of people who would like to be different from others. I don't know. Most of the audience happen to be students, so they perhaps wouldn't be sensitive to this idea. But when Professor Mishra perhaps can relate it to a little bit relate to this idea, how elitism comes into practice, how people need to be different from others. 1970s was the time when people started listening to the serious music, that is ghazals. So 1960s and early 70s was the time when the ghazal singing in the form of LP records and something else was dominated by such singers like Mehdi Hasan or Begum Akhtar. But then other people like Jagjit Singh and maybe later Ghulam Ali, those people also started giving performance and they also became popular. So people started listening to the ghazals of Jagjit Singh and Ghulam Ali. It was difficult to buy LP records and those record players. So because in 1970s, compact cassettes have also come into existence, and simple tape recorders and 2-in-1s have also started coming into existence. So many people who were interested in listening to the songs of Muhammad Rafi or Mukesh or Lata Mangeshkar or Asha Bhosle, that is film music, all those people, they also started listening to Jagjit Singh and Ghulam. So ghazal, listening to ghazals somehow became something that everybody was listening to. So those people who thought themselves to be belonging to a different category, who did not really listen to the film music and who listened to the music of these singers who were supposed to be near the classical tradition, they felt themselves threatened. So if music cassettes had come into circulation, and of course T series, the Gulshan Kumar revolution in the music industry, that revolutionized everything, and from Mata ki bhet to the bhet of devoted to this deity or that deity, everything became common, and cassette players became really everywhere. Whether it was a rickshawala, whether it was class 4 employee or class 3 employee or class 2 employee, or all these things. So Times of India, they came out with their own series of music. Not only they rediscovered the lost talent, that is introducing those music compositions of Begum Akhtar again, Kishore Yamonkar, maybe other Parveen Sultana, classical, semi-classical singers, and also the Thumris and Dadras of Shobha Gurtu, Nirmala Devi, Sadeshwari Devi. So they came up with this idea of reinventing the classical tradition. And it was also the time, 1980s and early 1990s, that we became conscious of the fact Ghulam Ali, in fact, this Ghulam Ali is not real Ghulam Ali, and there was some other Ghulam Ali, Bade Ustad Ghulam Ali Khan. So all these things, they again are an effort to make a distinction between elite and popular culture. So this politics of elite and popular keeps going on even today, in spite of postmodernism dispensing with such binaries of elite and popular. The same goes for writing. People who had grown up on the staple diet of reading great writers, maybe great writers James Joyce, Virginia Woolf, Hemingway, Fitzgerald, Hawthorne, somehow this whole business was changed overnight. In India too. It had changed in the West earlier, but in India, it also became a different kind of scene. I grew up reading Gulshananda Prem Vajpayee way back in 1970s, and I was always taken to task by my parents, everybody, to read such trash. Not only Gulshananda and Prem Vajpayee, Rajhans, later on Ranu, Colonel Ranjit, James Headley Chase in Hindi translation, James Bond series in Hindi translation again, but a lot of other things, including Kissa Tota Maina, Hatim Tai, all kinds of things, whatever could come handy. And all these things were not really the things which a young boy, 10, 11 years old, 9 years old, was supposed to read. Anyway, by and by, Munshi Premchand also came, Sharat Chandra also came, Shivani also came, Guru Datta also came. All kinds of writers came my way, and all these things happened. Elite culture, again, there was a division into elite and popular. Although, theoretically speaking, James Bond and Colonel Ranjit fall in the same category. Ved Prakash Kamboj and Ved Prakash Sharma, Surendra Mohan Pathak, and Agatha Christie, they fall in the same category. But again, elite people read James Headley Chase or Agatha Christie or Perry Mason series, and ordinary people read only Ved Prakash Sharma or Ved Prakash Kamboj. That was the distinction. When content cannot be distinction, language can be the distinction between elite and popular. So this is also very strange that even the idea of popular culture, even the idea of popular literature, that could be made into these two different categories. And may I perhaps mention this fact that that the series of Jasusi Dunya, which started from Nakat Publications in 1950s from Allahabad, continued. One of the stable writers of Jasusi Dunya was Ibn Safi. After partition, Ibn Safi moved to Karachi and he kept on writing novels in Urdu, which were translated into Hindi also overnight, and they kept on and the publication continued even in 1950s and 60s and continuing even up to 70s. Many more writers came on board writing for Jasusi Dunya, and also the idea of ghost writers, that also became very became available to the Indian people also. There was no writer named Colonel Ranjit. There were 4 or 5 writers, ghost writers, who were given the job of writing these novels by Hind Pocket Books to write those novels. So commissioned works. So could I remind the students of literature about this politics of writing ghost writers, Grub Street writers, which Alexander Pope was really very unhappy with. So this kind of thing, it happens in every country. And as far as popular literature is concerned, I'm sure publishers of merit more than Delhi, they perhaps are responsible for bringing this kind of literature into public domain. I don't know what we may call about it, but certainly, certainly the works of Gulshananda, the works of Prem Vajpayee, their works were as much important in society as much the importance of Munshi Premchand or Sharat Chandra. If I could again remind my listeners, popular literature, or at least Hindi Upanyas begins with this quotient of popular literature. Babu Devki Nandan Khatri wrote a novel in 1880s, well, around 150 years ago, 1.5 century ago, Chandrakanta. I'm sure some of my audience would be familiar with this name, not not because of the book, but perhaps because of the TV serial Chandrakanta, which again was a television rendering of the same story, the same book. If I could mention the fact that this was one book which occupied great literary space in 19th century, and many people, hundreds of people, or perhaps thousands of people learned Hindi Devanagari script, learned to read Devanagari script. Of course, they spoke Hindi, but in those days in schools, Arabic or Persian alphabet was taught, Urdu सिखाया जाता था, हिंदी नहीं. So बहुत लोगों ने हिंदी सीखी सिर्फ चंद्रकांता खुद पढ़ने के लिए, and then other works in the Bhutnath series. So popular has always been part of literary production. Munshi Premchand, howsoever great discussion might take place in the critical arena in the world of academia, had he not been popular, then he would not have been as relevant as he is today. James Headley Chase, Sidney Sheldon, let me also mention, Sidney Sheldon came to India way back in 1980s, I think. When he was roaming in different parts of Delhi, including Janpath, he saw and he picked up three of the novels, three of his own novels, which he never wrote. Three novels written by Sidney Sheldon, sold on Janpath by all kinds of Patri Bazaar, were the novels which he never wrote. Such was the popularity of Sidney Sheldon in America that ghostwriters could write spurious novels in the names of Sidney Sheldon and they could sell. So this is the politics of, most important politics of popular literature and popular culture, is the saleability of these things. Money certainly comes into play and it becomes a kind of mediator. So popular culture is as spontaneous as people's life is, no doubt. But when money comes to play its role, people tend to have little less control over whatever they enjoy, whatever they create. Popular literature is the creation of the people, for the people, and consumed by the people. The only difference is in real literature, literature with capital L, and popular literature is the artists of literature, literary artists. For example, tomorrow you will have a discussion on Dostoevsky also. So writers like Dostoevsky, they don't bother about people. They are concerned about their own critical, creative energy. They would like to put into words whatever they think is art, whatever the way they feel like rendering the world in words. They wouldn't bother about whether people like it or not, whether somebody will publish this book or not. They don't bother about it, and they are the people who seem to be guided by their own creative energy, mediated by their outlook about the practices of life. Whereas a popular writer would certainly write what kind of story should I write that people will enjoy. Once a formula becomes available, then it is repeated unless till the time the formula stops giving dividends. There were a large number of movies where dacoits dominated the scene. Hindi cinema, Daku cinema. Every third movie was about Daku. It was dacoit. Daku problem, there was a problem about dacoits. Not only there were many movies, but many books, many novels, many popular things, they were created about this theme of dacoits. Manmohan Kumar Tamanna's novels, I don't know, but people belong to my generation and who read popular literature, they must certainly be sensitive, or perhaps some of them must have read those books written by Manmohan Tamanna, Chambal Ki Rani, Chambal Ke Daku, Dasu Sardar this and Dasu Sardar that. Why could it be written? Why those novels could be popular? Because because dacoits like Daku Man Singh, Tehsildar Singh, Mohar Singh, such dacoits, those dacoits dominated the public discourse also. Their names and they became cult figures. They they became they were very popular characters. They were very popular people among the masses. That's why they could not be killed by, or they could not be captured by police or by the state machinery for a very long period of time, because they had the popular support. Incidentally, when we are talking about popular, is it not really very important to become popular, to have this popular quotient related to our existence itself as a citizen of a particular nation state? In democratic setup, wherever there is democracy, don't you think the very existence of the political system depends upon certain amount of popularity? Whosoever is popular carries the day and becomes the executive, whether it is America or whether it is India, whether it is the Indian nation, the idea of the parliament or the idea of the executive for the nation, or whether it is the executive of the state. That is, MLAs, ministers, chief minister in a state, or MPs, ministers, and the prime minister for the whole nation. Or maybe, for that matter, whether it is prime minister of India, or whether it is prime minister of England, or whether prime minister, or whether it is president of France, or president of the United States of America. This whole business of popularity really plays its role. Sometimes those people become more popular who are able to touch, touch, touch the hearts of their voters, rather than real real issues of politics, the way they are going to handle them. That certainly is the factor which decides. In the same way, popular literature is that literature which touches the reader's minds, emotions, feelings, thoughts, aspirations, fears, and anxieties. That certainly is the way. Whether you like it or not, I have never come across anybody worth her salt or worth his salt who teaches literature in a department of literature only, who would approve of, maybe say, for example, Chetan Bhagat, or they would tolerate Chetan Bhagat. Still, with a lot of qualifications and everything, they might tolerate Chetan Bhagat. But nobody is ready to tolerate Shobha De. Strange. Whether people tolerate Shobha De, whether people agree about Shobha De being a novelist, is besides the fact. The fact remains that she has written many novels, and she has sold a lot of those novels, and she has made, perhaps either she or her publishers have made money out of it. Penguin certainly reminds, penguin is a word which is associated with standards of publication. Penguin India published her works. So if critics are not happy with Shobha De, at least publishers are happy with Shobha De. Whether you accept them as a part of the literary canon or not, that is important. Not many people, I don't know. James Joyce's Ulysses was prescribed in my syllabus when I did my MPhil. So I was compelled to read it. I read through it, that's all. As a part of my duty, as a part of my job, I read through Ulysses from the opening page to the last page without getting anything about it. Of course, I also made a presentation on the on one section of the novel, because that was the mandate given by my teacher. One of my teachers who taught us that course was asked us to make presentations on different parts of Ulysses, and my roll number happened to be 1, so I was compelled to make this presentation also on Ulysses, and because nobody else volunteered to make a presentation on that section which carried Molly's monologue, so I was pushed into making a presentation on Molly's monologue also. I made the presentation, of course, and I passed the course also. But I told my teacher, sorry, sir, I made the presentation, but I don't know what this whole novel is all about. After this kind of personal experience, I got legitimacy about it. Maybe just a few months, maybe 3-4 months after that, I got my own views, my own idea about Ulysses validated in the words of a respectable novelist critic of India. I happened to pick up a book in the library when I visited library. I did my master's from Kurukshetra University. So when I went to the library once, on the display was one book, 18 Hindi Upanyasyon ki Samiksha. Rajendra Yadav was the editor, writer, editor, something like that. I just picked up that book and read through its preface, प्राक्थन. और उस प्राक्थन ने मुझे बड़ी खुशी दी. वो एमफिल का फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर पास करने की इतनी बड़ी खुशी नहीं थी जितनी उस दिन उसको पढ़ के हुई, क्योंकि वो यूलिसिस जो मेरी समझ में नहीं आया था, मुझे एक और आदमी मिल गया जिसकी समझ में नहीं आया था बिसाइड्स माय क्लास फेलोज. तो मेरे क्लास फेलोज की समझ में भी नहीं आया था, नो डाउट. एंड तो लेकिन वो इतना बड़ा सॉलेज नहीं था क्योंकि वो तो मेरे जैसे थे. तो राजेंद्र यादव की समझ में भी नहीं आया था यूलिसिस, वो मुझे प्राक्थन पढ़ के समझ में आ गया. राजेंद्र यादव ने अपने स्टूडेंट लाइफ के बारे में लिखा कि हम जब विद्यार्थी थे तो तब उस समय कविता पढ़ते थे, उपन्यास को हम घटिया मानते थे. लेकिन हमारा एक दोस्त बहुत ज्यादा उपन्यास पढ़ता था, वो कहता था कि जिसने यूलिसिस नहीं पढ़ा उसकी जिंदगी बेकार है. लिहाजा बोले कि हमें अपनी जिंदगी को सार्थक बनाने के लिए यूलिसिस पढ़ना पड़ा. सो पढ़ने की कोशिश की, नहीं पढ़ पाए, नहीं समझ में आया, तो बोले मैंने उसका, राजेंद्र यादव कहते हैं कि मैंने उसका मुख पृष्ठ फाड़ दिया, उसके ऊपर सादा कागज चिपकाया और लिखा दर्शन शास्त्र एक समीक्षा या एक कुछ लिखा उस पर, दर्शन शास्त्र. तो उसके बाद बड़े आराम से मैं उस किताब को पढ़ गया. सो वो शब्द पढ़कर, आई मे नॉट have quoted the exact words of राजेंद्र यादव. हो सकता है कि शब्द इधर उधर दाएं बाएं हो गए हों, बहुत पुराने, लगभग 40 साल पुराने वर्ड बात अनुभव है, तो इसलिए हो सकता है शब्द इधर उधर, लेकिन मर्म यही था. दैट वाज द इंटेंट. सो उस दिन बड़ी खुशी हुई कि यार ये राजेंद्र यादव जो इतने बड़े समीक्षाकार हैं, इतने बड़े उपन्यासकार हैं, उनकी समझ में नहीं आया तो मेरी समझ में नहीं आया, तो कोई खास बात नहीं, कोई बुरी बात नहीं. This again is one aspect about elite culture and popular culture. Masses की समझ में बहुत सारी elite की चीजें नहीं आती, लेकिन रिस्पेक्ट करना पड़ता है. The problem is the politics of respect. वो भी अपने आप में ठीक है, but because popular culture always takes its cue not only from the day-to-day life, not only from the changing patterns of life, not only from the ephemeral things, not only from the transient temporary things, but it also takes a cue from the classical tradition, the elite tradition, which is perennial, universal, and permanent. That is why so many things of elite culture, so many texts of elite culture can be found circulating among masses, of course, in a different way. When A.K. Ramanujan wrote his essay, 300 versions of Ramayana, when he talked about those 300 versions, of course, the number is much higher. There are not 300, but 3,000 or maybe 5,000 or maybe 10,000 Ramayans, or maybe equal number of Mahabharats circulating in the country among the people, among the masses. So वो elite को popular बना दिया. So वो elite को जब popular बना देते हैं तो हम वो एक अलग shape ले लेता है, अलग तरीका हो जाता है. I've been to different parts of the country. मुझे भारत का कोई ऐसा हिस्सा नहीं मिला जहां थोड़े बहुत टूरिस्ट जाते हों और वहां पर पांडव ना गए हों. पूरे देश में, उत्तर से दक्षिण, पूर्व से पश्चिम, देश का कोई हिस्सा ऐसा नहीं है जो किसी न किसी रूप में, किसी न किसी ढंग से पांडवों से एसोसिएटेड ना। तो रामायण से एसोसिएटेड नहीं है सभी लोग, सभी इससे, लेकिन पांडवों से एसोसिएटेड। वाई? ऐसा क्यों है? क्योंकि महाभारत को सैकड़ों साल तक हमारे देश में इतिहास कह के पढ़ाया जाता था, और रामायण को काव्य कह के पढ़ाया जाता था। सो काव्य एक अलग लेवल पर, इलीट के लेवल पर कनेक्ट करता था कंट्री को, और इतिहास वो रियल लेवल पर, मासेस के लेवल पर, डिस्पर्स्ड लेवल पर, वो फिजिकल ज्योग्राफिकल स्पेस के लेवल पर जाकर भी कनेक्ट करता था। रामायण मेंटल स्पेस और महाभारत फिजिकल स्पेस पर करता था जाकर। सो ये इस तरह की भी पॉपुलर लिटरेचर और पॉपुलर कल्चर is more about this physical, geographical, real, social space. Or elite culture has got something more to do with mental, spiritual, academic, scholastic space. वो scholarship की बात, वो taste की बात। So taste कुछ लोगों का अलग होता है, masses का अलग होता है, किसी को। And we are also not only given to these different tastes, we are also many a time we are caught up in the politics of those tastes. कितने लोग स्टेटस कॉन्शियस भी होते हैं। तो अगर आप कुछ हैं, अगर आप खास हैं, तो आपको खास तरह से काम करना है, खास ही तरह से रहना है। कितना ही बढ़िया लगता हो समोसा खाना किसी रेडी का, वहां खड़े होके खा नहीं सकते। That would be too down market. So we are trapped. गाने सुनने कितने ही अच्छे लगते हों, फिल्मी गाने, ये फिल्मी डांस और आइटम सॉन्ग्स और आइटम डांसेस कितने ही अच्छे लगते हों, वो देख लेते हैं, लेकिन उन्हें एक्सेप्ट नहीं करना होता। Because we are elite. Because I'm a teacher, because I teach literature, because I teach English literature, because I deal with with those great books written about literature and literary discourse and all those things. So वो आइटम डांस के बारे में बात करना, चेतन भगत के बारे में बात करना, ये मान लेना कि मैंने चेतन भगत के नॉवल पढ़े हैं या शोभा डे के नॉवल पढ़े हैं, बड़ा मुश्किल। Let me come to another issue. Of course, human beings inhabit literature as much as they inhabit the world of popular literature. Because ordinary people, maybe they are in literature, but they are mediated, or they become alive in front of the reader through the mediations of a great artist. So it is the great artist who is creating those common people. Are they really common? When they come mediated by the great artist who gives two hoots to what people think, what people will like, can they be real, ordinary, common characters? That is my question. Whereas, because Chetan Bhagat or Shobha Day, they have got to write novels which common people will read, and common people would feel like aligning themselves and would feel themselves reflected in these characters. They would like to see their fears, their anxieties, their desires, their aspirations, not only discussed, but also realized. Fears and anxieties averted, solved, and aspirations and desires fulfilled. So don't you think these writers have got to create more convincing common people? When we look at this whole idea, now since I've talked about Chetan Bhagat and Shobha Day, I mean, sorry for being unfair to those hundreds of writers who fall in the category of popular writer and who make this industry going, make this culture going forward. But anyway, the time is always short in any discussion, any discourse. So let me, what happens? Why people are angry with Shobha Day? Some critics have described her novels not as fiction, but as fiction because of lot of graphic details of the sexual act itself, sexual intercourse itself, all kinds of abnormalities, normalities, all kinds of things that one can imagine about sex. They are there in her novels, practiced by one or the other character in this or that novel. So obviously, she is corrupting the minds of her readers. Fine, she might be. But what kind of readers do she have? Men and women both? What will happen in case of men? Their fantasies, they will be happy when their own fantasies will be written in words. So they will have some kind of precarious satisfaction, gratification, maybe some kind of precarious orgasm when they read her novels. Let it be. What about women? Her novels are read by women too. Will it be a kind of validation of all the fantasies of women who might have such kind of fantasies or who might have such kind of ideas about sex? Is it something? I mean, the whole population depends. Human society depends upon this sexual intercourse. If sexual intercourse stops, human population will also stop. Is this such a bad issue that cannot be discussed? And that too in late 20th century when we started writing novels, and also and also 21st century, late 20th century when people were already talking about giving sex education to school children. I don't know, but all mature readers. And if people are angry with the kind of language she uses, fine, agreed. Okay. But will any great critic tell me if something is to be described, what kind of words is she to use? Even in order to describe the feelings and emotions, etc., of those characters who are indulging in that sex act. What is the language, by the way, available? Is she not to use the same language which circulates in society, or is she to think of or create a new synthetic new speak? And if she uses a new speak, new words, will it be understood by the people? I don't know. But anyway, the issue is not only she is able to verbalize the fantasies, but along with fantasies, sometimes her characters also behave in a normal human being, the way normal human beings behave. People enjoy food, people also enjoy sex, people also feel sorry for the food, people do not enjoy, people are also sick of food, sometimes obesity is caused by food. So is obsession with sex, could be abnormality, or it might lead to one or the other angularities in one's personality, no doubt. But at the same time, we cannot really take these writers to task for doing or for writing or for showing whatever everyone does. Let's come to Chetan Bhagat. What kind of characters Chetan Bhagat, most of the novels, or at least early novels of Chetan Bhagat, are they not the kind of people who inhabit the campuses of universities like J.C. Bose University? Most of his characters, they attend one or the other elite institution, technical institutions, or all that kind of people. Don't they have the same problems with their parents belonging to a different generation? Is it not the case that his novels also give an idea of maintaining status quo rather than overthrow of everything? His characters do not necessarily walk out of their family life. They insist on retaining this cohesive character of middle class family, where all members of the family, parents or children or siblings, particularly parents and children, where they have got to support each other. They cannot say, to hell with you. So this are his characters Our families in his novels are not this kind of families that all middle class families aspire to remain. Are his novels really such novels which do not have any cultural value? And these are the questions. So in other words, through the examples of these two writers and through the example of maybe some film songs or maybe albums, we certainly can feel not only popular fiction and popular arts and popular culture, not only they produce our own life, our aspirations, not only the life that we live, but also the life that we want to live, and also our fears. All these texts of popular culture and popular literature, they certainly give us all this pattern of life that may not necessarily be all the time good enough to pass the test of ethics, to pass the test of satisfaction with whatever you have, but it is certainly something that keeps society going. Societies are never satisfied with what they are. This is again primary motive for the change in human civilization from the point of from the kind of life that we lived way back thousands of years ago, hunting or maybe gathering food and hunting animals, to the present times. So satisfaction or a certain amount of dissatisfaction certainly is something that keeps us, that makes us keep going. So is the case with our desires, which are reflected and make us dissatisfied. A charge which was levied by the famous duo of QD and FR Lewis against popular literature. The charge is okay, fine, agreed, it's correct. But this charge can also be levied against against science and technology itself. Can we manage without science and technology? If we can manage without science and technology, okay, fine, we would be happy to manage without popular culture and popular literature. I'm talking about popular culture and popular literature in 2021. And I have also brought in the whole business of science and technology. We are living in the times of great risk. We are living in the times of great danger. We are living in the times of real threat of annihilation of life. The whole planet may go off as far as life is concerned, not because of nuclear war, but because of our own acts. We have been changing the face of Earth in the last 200-300 years, particularly so much, and we are hell bent upon changing it at a faster rate in the times to come. That maybe after 1,000 years or so, or maybe less than that, maybe more than that, but the moment cannot be far away when the earth will sink within itself because of the degradation of the environment. No technology, no industrial production, howsoever environment friendly you may call it, no technology is green technology. It cannot be. It's a contradiction in terms. Fine, it may feel to be green technology as of today. That also means perhaps we are prolonging the life of the earth. Maybe that's what we can do. If we cannot manage without science and technology, we also cannot manage without popular culture and popular fiction. Whether we are happy about it or whether we are sad about it. But what is important is many more people need to be sensitive to read and understand and make academic study of popular culture, because this affects masses, because this is of the masses. So we need to apply the same parameters, apply the same tools, and apply the same seriousness in understanding popular culture and popular literature, the same seriousness with which we understand great literary artistic works. scientists, social scientists need to be as serious about analyzing the present patterns of marriage, present patterns of weddings, and the implications of living together as they look at this institution of marriage in sort of metamorphosed or frozen ways, as it was described in earlier texts, or as it was described, as it was practiced by the earlier generation. They need to look at it with as much seriousness as possible. In the same way, we need to look at all these good for nothing, half hourly novels of the hour, or poems for the moment, songs for the moment, with as much seriousness. We feel like looking at those things which were sung by Vidushi Siddheshwari Devi maybe 75 years ago, or maybe by Bhimsen. We need to look at the synthetic music created by the orchestra today with the same seriousness with which we listen to and analyze the kajris played by Ustad Bismillah Khan on his Shehnai. So there has got to be this kind of seriousness about reading very different texts of popular culture and popular literature. At least we as teachers and we as students of different courses, I'm not certainly saying that we only as students of literature, but also as students of maybe BTech or MTech or whatever that is, whatever courses we are pursuing, we need to really apply our own ways of understanding life, whether it is physics or whether it is mathematics or whether it is mechanical engineering or whether it is print technology or whether it is software branch of engineering or communication, whatever tools and parameters are taught to us by the academic discipline that we are pursuing, we must use many of those things in understanding our own life. And our own life certainly is the life that can be categorized as popular culture. And whatever most of us read or most of us enjoy reading, watching, enjoy watching, enjoy experiencing, that needs to be discussed and that needs to be analyzed by using great tools that our own respective disciplines provide to us, not necessarily from the point of the tools that literary critics do have. So,
Yes,
Divya, if you
Professor
allow
Huda,
me,
Professor
I
Huda.
would like to open the session for interaction.
Yes, exactly, sir. There's so many questions students have queued up for you that we actually need to take up the questions now.
Yes.
I would request Jigyasa to begin and one by one to unmute the students who have posed relevant questions. Kindly.
Yes, sir.
Technical team, kindly unmute the students one by one. Let each one of them ask a question, wait for a reply, and then next person.
Sure,
Good
ma'am.
afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir. So my question is that, do you think that contemporary Indian cinema is on the way or helping in reviving our culture?
Reviving our culture. I mean, again, this question is a difficult one. Reviving culture means we have lost it. Have we really lost it?
Also, sir, seconding to this, like I have also posted a same question, like in the same context, that like, is it right to say that there's an overarching influence of European and American society that can be witnessed in Indian literary works and arts, which is a sort of which sort of eclipsing the our culture and traditions. Like, I'm not saying that it has kind of surpassed it, but like still trying to eclipse it. So can it be said that contemporary Indian cinema is on the right way in reviving the culture?
I would ask you to watch two movies. One, Nadia Ke Paar, another, Hum Aapke Hai Kaun. Both
Fabulous example, sir. Yes, sir. I
Rajshri
have watched
productions.
them.
Both Rajshri productions.
Yes, sir.
The
Yes, sir.
same house, containing the same story, created maybe 15, 20 years apart from each other, Nadia ke par, maybe 10 years or so. The same story has been cast in different mold. Anyway, cultures always keep taking from each other. One. Second, when you take one thing, it comes along with so many other things. It brings with it its own context. When we take American money, when we take American technology, we also take along with all those patterns of life that come as a part of it. When you choose to wear trousers and maybe three-piece suit or tie or something like that, you also are compelled to choose dining table. You cannot eat sitting cross-legged on floor all the time. The way we could eat food when we were little kids and when we were not compelled to wear trousers, jeans, etc., etc. So rather than considering the Indian movies are a revival of the Indian culture, I would say Indian movies, they continue to present whatever content sells. Nowadays, because it is the opulence and the grandeur that would sell, that would satisfy the urge of a larger number of people. Hence, larger than life pictures are being sold on screens, television screen and cinema screen. Whatever was in the privacy of the home, maybe Karwa Chauth Vrat or something like that, now it has got to be presented as a larger than life kind of function or something like that, so that all kinds of people may sell their wear and become rich. So this is presenting Indian culture with or in other words, the screen world, the world of screens, be it cinema or television, gives Indian culture to us with strong help of capitalistic structures. Whether you call it revival or whether you call it regression, progression, that's your choice. But certainly it is made more moneyed, it is made more rich, it is made more opulent. Hence, the essential nature of many of the practices changes from the spirit of commitment to spirit of display.
Thank you so much, sir. That was very convincing.
Thank you.
So next could be Vyomi. Please keep your questions short and crisp. Vyomi?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, my question is, does the satanic verses of Salman Rushdie comes under popular culture? Because it is popular and yet inaccessible to everyone.
Satanic verses certainly comes under popular literature with the serious with the intent of a writer, with the intent of elite, but with the content of popular. The content is popular, intent is elite. Elite in the sense that it feels like challenging the things in such a manner as to lead to a general disturbance in in the world of thoughts. So it is very difficult to categorize and to classify things into pure elite and pure popular. It certainly falls in the gray area. A large area is gray area. It falls in the gray area with a kind of balance, a hanging balance, depending upon the reader. It may fall in the category of popular, again, popular of elite section, not of masses. Masses do not read Salman Rushdie. Salman Rushdie is read by elite. So it borders on that area, that gray area, where the elite and the popular do have different connotations. the popular of the elite class is different from the popular of the masses. So it is difficult to put it into category from the point of view of popular culture. It does not fall in popular culture, it certainly falls in popular fiction. If we forget that this is a book created during the times of postmodernist opening up.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Chahat.
Good afternoon, sir.
Very good afternoon.
So my question is that what should we do to uplift our cultural literature? And also, do you think the difference in the language, folk literature can bring people together?
But folk literature is that literature which folks create, circulate, enjoy. So they are already together. One. Second, because folk change from one small place to another small place, so it would be fallacy to have one folk literary text with the same content and in the same language. So the great variety has got to be there in order to retain its folk element. So we should not really feel like standardizing folk literature. On the other hand, we don't have to do much to to preserve or to enhance our culture. It is not culture which is enhanced or which is degraded. It is only one component of the culture, that is ethics and the values, which may be suitably changed in order to make our practices of life more suitable or of a higher level, or maybe lower level or something like that. So rather than trying to enhance culture or take culture higher, we should insist on living a life which makes our life better for others.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Sir, next, Paranthak Prathama, please. And after that, Payal, one final last question. Paranthak Prathama and last is Payal.
Good afternoon, sir.
Very good afternoon.
Sir, my question is there any way to break this wall between elite and popular culture?
There is hardly a way, my dear. The problem is masses may feel like having their way into the elite, but elite, since they control the structures, since elite control economic structures, political structures, and also structures of scriptures and all those things. So they would like to create walls. They would like to keep the walls intact. When they cannot keep the walls intact, and when some people creep into that category, again, rather than getting the wall demolished, they use another politics, the politics of co-opting. They co-opt that person, they co-opt that text and make it their text. So the people who belong to masses, when they become rich, when they become famous, they start behaving like famous people, they start behaving like great people, and they stop behaving like ordinary people. Again, this is another way of moving the wall. You move the wall a little bit, or you open the wall for a moment to let somebody in. So these walls, as long as there are categories, walls will remain. Things will keep moving from one side to another side.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Payal actually. Payal.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, beta.
Sir, as you talked about multicultural and multi-religious things, and in today's scenario,
one culture or religion being more than the other. So, sir, do you think that today's changing scenario will change the concept of popular culture for upcoming writers?
But the issue is popular culture, because it is the culture of the people. So it is never static. It is always dynamic. It is always changing. By the way, how old are you? I mean, early 20s?
Sir, I'm 20.
Yeah, that is early 20s or 20. Do you think your parents were never 20 years old, or they were?
They were, sir.
Many years ago, they were also 20-year-old. No?
Like, yes, sir.
Yes. So, do you listen to the same singers and same kind of thing that your parents listened to when they were 20 years?
No, sir. They kept on changing.
Who is your favorite singer?
Sir, Justin Bieber.
Justin Bieber. By the way, who's your father's favorite singer?
Sir, he is to know more, so I don't know about this.
Okay, fine. Anybody, your uncle,
You can ask your
listen
mom.
to Justin
She
Bieber?
will know. Yeah.
Do they listen to Justin Bieber?
No, sir.
No.
No, definitely not.
But you also do not listen to the kind of singers that they used to listen to. Maybe it could be Jagjit Singh, or it could be Ghulam Ali, or it could be Chandan Das, or it could be Pankaj Udas, or it could be Mohammad Rafi, or your grandparents. As far as movies are concerned, they could be more given to listen to maybe Mohammad Rafi, but more importantly, perhaps KL Sehgal. I mean, but KL Sehgal was also popular. Mohammad Rafi was also a popular singer. Justin Bieber is a popular singer. So popular singer remains. This category of the popular singers, popular songs is always occupied by people. So they keep changing. The category remains there. So I don't think there is something wrong about all these things. It is because it is not static. It keeps changing, and I'm sure your children will not be giving answers to the who is your favorite singer. I'm sure they are not going to say Justin Bieber. There will be something else, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So that does that answer your query or not?
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
This was a great session. I think Andrila would speak on it more. And there is our organizing secretary, Ms. Mamta, who would reflect on the whole scenario today and how wonderful the session was. But before that, I want everyone, sir's camera is switched on, but I also want all the participants to switch on their cameras so that we can have a nice screenshot photo with sir. And it would be good for keepsake and memories and everything, even for record, as you know. So, sir, with your permission, can we ask all the students to switch on their cameras so that we can take a nice photo? Before we come to the conclusion and the vote of thanks?
Yeah, if it does not, if my presence and my camera does not compromise the quality or the look of the screen, then it's okay. But otherwise, I can switch off my camera.
Not at all, sir. You are the star of the show today, and it was wonderful listening to you.
दिव्या स्टार की बात गड़बड़ है आजकल बड़ा पॉल्यूशन का टाइम है स्टार्स दिखाई नहीं देते हैं
It's all about popular culture, and for us, this has been a popular lecture. We are looking forward to many more such lectures in future, and it is really important for students to orient themselves to the world around them, be conscious about it, be critical as well as sensitive about it, and this is what we have learned in today's lecture. So
I don't know, but Divya, if you allow me to speak a few sentences, your students, the most important thing to learn today, as far as I can I can think of it is lectures can also be your loud thoughts. It was it was only loud thoughts, and I with a lot of effort I kept it uh, without any structure. I kept it without consulting any paper, anything. I kept it without any reference except what I feel about this topic, what I have lived this topic to be. So that means it is again, my, the, the message of my talk was our own understanding at every point of time, whether we are young or whether we are mature, is pretty valid, and it must come out and it must occupy the social space. If I can speak all this nonsense in the name of a talk delivered to the students and the faculty of a university, if it can have any validity, then why not the thoughts of that young student who is barely 20 years old and who is doing graduation in one or the other technical stream? If at all something has got to be taken from my talk today, this is the only message that one needs to take, that my thoughts, my likings, my dislikings, my approvals, my disapprovals, my interests, my hobbies, my choices are as valid as the choices of greatest of the people are. If you have this faith in yourself, perhaps then the world will change. It is not going to be static, it's going to be dynamic. Let the world be dynamic, and let our own individual choices be expressed with full confidence. There is nothing bad about anything. If I listen to Justin Bieber, fine, it's good. Justin Bieber songs are as important as this as the rags of Pandit Bhimse. The break dance, there's the foolish, idiotic dance that you do on on what you call this ladies Sangeet Day, or when you dance at the head of the barat of your friend or your relative, is as good as perhaps the dance of Sonal Mansi. Don't worry, don't bother about the format, whether it is Bharatanatyam or Kathak or whether it is dance which is just an expression of your feelings of happiness at that moment. That is what perhaps is the relevance and importance of popular culture. Lalit Kala, Dance Academy, Nrit, Sahitya Akademi, whatever they organize their functions, and the great dancers who perform, fine. But your dance during a barat, in maybe ladies Sangeet, or maybe in your hostel room, or anywhere else, is as important that great dance is. That's what perhaps the message that I wanted to convey. And that was implied, but now I have stated. Thank you very much for the digression. Thanks a lot. Sorry for the...
Definitely, sir. Our life is more exciting, more varicolored, more joyous because of all the amateurs trying their feet and their hands at dancing, bathroom singers singing and everything. So that's what that's what makes life exciting. And you're right, we should aim at inclusivity. And that is what we actually had in mind when we organized this lecture and we thought of the topics. And yes, of course, and you were the one to give us a sort of clue on how to proceed with your nice grand idea of this talk on popular culture and popular literature. It actually set the tone for the rest of the series, so we are really thankful. It was a great session.
Divya, if you allow me,
yes,
one minute, only 1 minute.
Yes,
I would like to give.
Yes, sir, sure, sir.
I would like to give one definition of dance. Some 25 years ago, 25 साल पहले की बात है, कम से कम 25 30 साल के करीब पहले, मेरे कजिन की बेटियों की शादी थी गांव में। जून का महीना था, गांव में जून में गर्मियों में शादियां होती थी पहले, अभी तो सब पूरा साल होने लगी। सो मैं भी गया हुआ था।
मॉर्निंग सुबह सुबह हुई होगी।
दिन में होती
सुबह
है, काहे की सुबह, वो बिल्कुल असली जो असली दोपहर होती है। सुबह अपने घर से बारात में चलेंगे 10 बजे तो 11 बजे पहुंचेंगे, उसके बाद होगा सारा मामला। एनीवे, तो हम सभी लोग बैठे थे एक जगह, बारात तो आ चुकी थी। तो एक आदमी, मेरा एक दूसरा कजिन आया, तेज आया और आके उसने कहा, चलो भाई उठ लो, खड़े हो लो, बारात आ गई, चाल पड़ी वरमाला के लिए। सो मेरे दूसरे कजिन वो थे, उन्होंने बहुत बढ़िया 2 सेंटेंस बोले और मेरा कई सारे कंसेप्ट उस दिन क्लियर हो गए। जून के महीने में तकरीबन 1 बजे के करीब का टाइम था, पौने 1 बजे के करीब का टाइम था। आप सोच सकते हैं 44-45 डिग्री टेम्परेचर रहा होगा उस समय लगभग। और उसने कहा कि अरे रहने दो, बैठे रहो, ये तो ऐसे जल्दी बचाता है। ऑफ कोर्स वो स्पोकन है, टिपिकल हरियाणवी, बोले नए तकाजा मचाया करे, बैठे रहो। ये बात जनियत चाली है, थोड़े डांस करेंगे जब आवेंगे वरमाला तक। अब नाउ द वर्ड डांस, ऑफ कोर्स इट वाज हरियाणवी variant of the word dance, English word co-opted into Haryanvi language. But just I visualize the situation कि बैंड वाले बजा रहे होंगे, पता नहीं कौन से वो अजीब सी धुन बजा रहे होंगे, किसी फिल्म गाने की घटिया सी धुन बजा रहे होंगे। कई बारातियों ने शराब पी रखी होगी, गर्मी के 1 बजे के टाइम, पता नहीं राम जाने, कोई रम पी रह गया, कोई कच्ची पी रहा है, कोई पक्की पी रहा है। और वो गांव की गली में जहाँ गारा होगी, गोबर होगा, सब कुछ होगा, वहां डांस करेंगे। कोई नागिन डांस करेगा, कोई कुछ तरह का करेगा। सो आई विजुअलाइज द सीन कि मुझे लगा कि ये डांस वर्ड से ही डिस्क्राइब किया जा सकता उस पूरे सीन को। डांस वर्ड पर will come out to be short. So बेटा, जब वो वाला डांस भी हो सकता है, उसको भी हम, आफ्टर ऑल वो लोग 2-3 को तो बाकायदा लाया जाता है बारात में, भाई उसने लेकर चलो, बढ़िया डांस करेगा, समथिंग लाइक दैट। सो वो so called professional dancers हैं वो बारातों के। Within that situation everything is fine. So if we need to look at all those things from a different perspective, सिर्फ academic perspective, literary perspective काफी नहीं, artistic perspective काफी नहीं है, culture का perspective from the within of that culture is what is required. हम हमेशा बाहर से, दूर से, किताब के नजरिए से चीजों को देखते हैं, उसके साथ साथ वहां अंदर खड़े होकर देखने की भी जरूरत है। थैंक यू, सॉरी फॉर द इंटरप्शन, थैंक्स। प्लीज दिव्या, यू कंटिन्यू।
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for making us understand the multiplicity of fields that culture encompasses, how the lifestyle as well as practices, language, music, entertainment, religion, all become the discourse in literature. And also it was such a pleasure to hear you how language is also is a product of culture. Culture is itself an endless discourse where adjectives like high and low are just critically relevant, which can't define culture, which is a knowledge in itself. So there is a beautiful Sanskrit quote that I can elucidate. Khanesha kanaschaiva vidyamarthang cha sadhyate khanatyago kuto vidya kanatyago kuto dhanam, which means knowledge should be gained through minute by minute before with efforts. Money should be earned utilizing each and every resource. If you waste time, how can you get knowledge? If you waste resources, how can you accumulate the wealth? I would like to call Mamta Bansal, who is the organizing secretary, to present the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Angela ma'am. So it was really indeed a great pleasure to be a part of this wonderful series, which we hope will achieve, definitely is going to achieve success with passionate participation of all. And today we have seen the participation as well. So we also thank the Honorable VC Professor, Vice Chancellor, Professor Dinesh Kumar, for presiding over the inaugural ceremony and sharing his valuable guidance with us. And we are honored to have Dr. JAIBIR HUDA ji for taking out his precious time and, inspiring the students with his experience takes. So it was really, a pleasure to have you with us. So, the way you have connected with the students was amazing. You have made a connect. Again, you have become very popular, with your own ways of explaining the things and using your own takes and experiences, which really bridged the understandings and bringing the most important concepts really in a real righteous manner. Again, so it added the, as you've used the word dynamic, so the way you have brought up the topic was commendable, and it added dynamism to this whole series. So we are really really thankful by your presence, sir. And we thank the audience for their keen interaction and earnest queries. We thank the event coordinator, Dr. Divya Jyoti Singh ma'am, for selecting such wonderful topics. And
Yeah.
yes, ma'am.
Mamta ma'am, Professor Atul sir
Yes.
is also there.
Yes.
So,
I was coming. Yeah, and definitely we would definitely like to thank Dean, Faculty of Liberal Arts and Media Studies, Dr. Atul Mishra sir, who has been, leading and guiding all of us, inspiring all of us to take up such opportunities, to take up such initiatives, and to embark on a new journey where we can really become more resourceful, where we can really incorporate new ideas, and we can really bring in more and more experts who can really guide us, not only the students but also us, to look again to look at the things with a new perspective, or maybe, as sir has suggested, to stay in tune with life, or with the with the the flow of life, and to understand the change, which is the constant thing in life. So thank you, everyone.
Can we have all of you to switch on your cameras? And may I also thank on behalf of Mamta and the whole department, all our colleagues from different universities who have joined. I can see Pramod sir there from BPS Kanpur, and probably Madam Ashurati. And I also saw, just a second, I think I saw Madam from Dr. Sonia Huda is there, Dr. Reena, Kamal Tandon ma'am from Agarwal College, Ballabgarh. And of course, I saw Madam Geeta Fogart from Kurukshetra University.
No, I'm BPS.
She's from BPS as well? Okay. Okay, thank you,
And
sir.
students of our law department are also there. Diksha Yadav, so many students are there from BPS.
Okay. And yes, the students from BPS Kanpur Kala, it's a women's university. It's really doing a fine job. And they have a medical college, they have law center, they have arts faculty, so it's a full-fledged wonderful place. Thank you, Pramod sir, your students are always there participating. Vijay Rani madam from Agarwal College, welcome ma'am. Thank you so much all of you for joining. If there is someone from another university whom I have failed to acknowledge, kindly excuse me, or you could always be free to speak. This is the time we can just, as we are concluding, show our presence, because Professor Huda and Professor Atul Mishra, they will also like to meet colleagues from other universities. So if I have missed out on anyone, kindly. Everyone is here. Yeah. Professor Pawan Singh Malik is also here, and Professor Malik has recently joined our department, sir. In fact, our faculty as an associate professor, and he's from Makhanlal Chaturvedi University, great media person and distinguished academician. He's been leading our media and animation departments, of course, with Professor Atul Mishra as our dean. So we have, very able colleagues in the whole of faculty, and really, a vibrant atmosphere, as you can see. So, and without this great audience, it would be, impossible. But the organizers as well, efforts of everybody counts, the students, so all of them. Thank you, sir. Because of you, we could put it all together.
Thank you, Professor Hudda. So nice of you for taking the time out and coming on this platform for sharing your word of wisdom. I think your talk was so stimulating. It was so engaging. It took me back to my childhood days and younger days when we used to read Gulshan Nanda and James Headley Chase. And so thanks for reminding all those days. Really appreciated your presence today. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I think we should switch on the cameras and have a group photo.
And before that, I would like to say thank you, Professor Mishra. It was really a wonderful session in the sense that I could also take a journey down the lane, down the memory lane. But really, there was nothing that I could bring it from whatever I've read. I really consider myself really fortunate to have lived in those times and in those situations. I mean, it was really a kaleidoscope of Indian society. Perhaps I didn't understand it that way at that point of time because I was too young. From the age of, say, for example, 7 years or 8 years to the age of 12, 13 years, I lived in that place where and again, my father was in job, he resigned and opted to be a farmer. So he became a farmer there. So I was the son of a farmer who happened to get English newspaper maybe for 60% of the days when the bus would ply, because it was a kacha road, not a metal road. So whenever there was rains, even outside the rainy season, there were no buses, so no newspaper. So, but everybody knew him. Our house was in our field only. It was a farmhouse, and it was on main road. So this gave me an opportunity to interact with all kinds of people, including. It is strange for me to remember how DM, District Magistrate, DC. We call it DC in Haryana, the first appellate title that we use for the officer is DC, but in Uttar Pradesh it is still the same person, but we call it, the people call it DM. How when DM was to visit the area, how there would be a great traffic of SDM, Patwari, Gram Sevak, Mukhya Gram Sevak, all kinds, Tahsildar, all kinds of people would travel. DM Saab aayenge. I remember I was in I think 6th standard. So when so many people came and they became so fussy, my father got angry. So DM साहब आएंगे यार, आते रहेंगे DM साहब. अरे मेरे घर में आएगा, मैं देख लूंगा क्या होना क्या नहीं होना. And I don't know, as things would have it. My father said, of course I couldn't understand the meaning of those words then, but understood later. बोला तेरा DM आएगा. बोला मेरा बोला बॉस फ्लेचर था. तू किस खेत की मूली की बात कर रहा है? Fletcher was an ICS officer. अब later on I came to know. बोला मेरा बॉस फ्लेचर था, तू बोला ये डीएम के चक्कर में बैठा, बैठ जाएगा जहां भी बैठेगा, मेरे से बड़ा है क्या डीएम? 4 बजे पे बैठ जाए, नहीं 4 नहीं तो कुर्सी बैठ जाएगा. So something like that. So it was a different kind of time when DM would have such a great value, but not only because it was early 70s, but also because there was a great hangover of feudal times. So our students today who have lived in a different time, since they are not sensitive to this idea of feudal values, feudal practices still creeping in our society. And it was, thank you very much. I could also go down the memory lane. Yeah, it was, of course, our past is always golden age. But anyway, that was so.
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
It was indeed a pleasure, sir. Kamal ma'am from Agarwal College is also here. Ma'am, good day. Thank you for attending the session. I just want to ensure from the technical team that they have taken a photograph of everyone with their cameras on.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Kindly
ma'am.
let me know. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you very much, sir. With your permission and with the permission of our dean, we will adjourn the meeting today, and looking forward to see you on the 7th. It's going to be another great lecture, sir. Again, another intriguing topic. It's law, literature, language. So politics of language. Today we discuss politics of culture, politics of language, both. Let's see what Professor Prasnanshu, another eminent professor, he has to say on this. So thank you very much. Thank you, audience.
Thank
You were
Thank
lovely.
you. Thank you, Dr. Divya.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations to your team. Dr.
Thank
Saab, बहुत धन्यवाद. Professor
जी.
Saab, बहुत धन्यवाद. Thank you. Really appreciate
Thank
it.
Thank you, sir. Andrila ma'am and Mamta ma'am really did it so well. So all faculty, they'll be doing it and under your kind leadership. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you so much,
Thank you.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Can we leave now? Yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Divya ma'am, for starting up this taking up this one. And I suppose our first session went really well. The students really enjoyed, and they were able to connect with the topic. So I suppose our beginning, we have taken up the right step in the right direction. I
Yeah,
second this.
congratulations to you and Andrila ma'am. And I think Reena ma'am, everyone in the department, they're also here. And very soon we'll have more such programs to inspire the students. And also these would give us an opportunity to meet with our colleagues in different colleges. जैसे प्रमोद सर हमेशा तभी आते हैं, Kamal Tandon ma'am हमेशा तभी आती हैं. So, these programs also give us an opportunity to meet our colleagues. Otherwise, there'll be, it would always be long time no see. So, अभी इसकी वजह से हम at least एक दूसरे को देख लेते हैं.
And rightly said by Divya ma'am.
Thank you, everyone. It was a great day, and
Yeah.
must be tired, everyone now.
Yeah. So this is how we are also going to interact with Pramod Malik sir and Kamal Tandon ma'am. We are quite new in this. We have been roped in this department quite lately. So my apologies to sir if in any ways. So sir, so nice to see you on board, and we will be looking forward to meeting you in the upcoming sessions as well. And similarly,
Kamaल 7 तारीख को हम सारे स्टूडेंट्स के लिए ओपन कर देंगे. मतलब आज कुछ ग्लिच हो गया तो 100 का रह गया, वो हमारा 500 का है एक्चुअली.
Yes. There was
आगे आपके स्टूडेंट्स ज्वाइन कर पाएंगे.
ठीक है मैम.
ठीक है सर. 7th को लॉ वाले.
Excuse me, Divya ma'am.
Yes, let's adjourn the meeting. Let's meet on July 7th.
Okay, ma'am.
All the best.
Thank you.
Best wishes.
Same to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.